Welcome, Pewter Report readers and listeners, to another edition, a live edition of the Pewter Report podcast, Energized by Celsius. We are live, Scott, at Glory Days Grill in Carrollwood on Dale Mabry Highway. This is awesome, not only to be here live, but we are sitting next to a Lombardi trophy here that the Bucs are hoping to bring home, their second one just tomorrow. Can't wait for it. It's going to be a heck of a show today and a heck of a time tomorrow.
It really is. The Buccaneers, John, they're trying to win this bad boy tomorrow night against the Kansas City Chiefs. So how cool is that? So we want you to come on down here to Carrollwood to visit us at Glory Days Grill, have some lunch, and it's going to be a fantastic time. And if you're looking for a place to maybe have your Super Bowl party catered, well, the best place for the big game is calling up the folks at Glory Days, visiting them online at Glory Days Grill, and they've got some fantastic specials to talk about. But also we've got Celsius that's going to be on hand today with some free product giveaway. So if you haven't had the chance to try the Celsius energy drinks, well, John, there's no better time than today.
No better time than today. We're going to need a couple with how much we're doing for the Super Bowl and everything, so we're going to need these things. But what I love about Celsius, Scott, is that there isn't that letdown that you get later from other energy drinks.
Yeah,
and you also get the bloated feeling you get from drinking soda and stuff like that. So can't say enough good things about it. Love Celsius and really pumped. Today's podcast, as all of them, are sponsored by our friends over at Celsius.
All right. That's not playing, but usually we have a Celsius commercial right here, and it's not playing right now for some reason. So what we're going to go right back into talking about Celsius, and Celsius, they've got special one right now that is subscribing 30% off at Amazon. So if you want, this offer has gotten really good until Monday. So I've already taken advantage of it. I've already got a couple shipments to my house, going out to my daughter, Ellie, out in Kansas State. What you have to do is go to Celsius, click on those banners on pewterreport.com. They're going to take you right to Amazon. And once you're there, you can save 30% off with the subscribe and save. So it's an awesome way to enjoy Celsius and save 30% while you're doing it. So make sure that you're drinking Celsius when it comes to your Super Bowl festivities and your workouts and everything. This is the beverage of choice here at pewterreport.com. So now, John, we are here at Glory Days Carrollwood, and I'm going to have Jen Omer join us from Glory Days. Jen, come on over here. We've got some tremendous food here, and if you haven't had the chance to eat at Glory Days, you're missing out. Jen, welcome to the Pewter Report podcast.
Appreciate it.
Jen, Glory Days has been a fixture here in the Tampa Bay community, serving sports fans for well over a decade now.
Yeah, just about. Our first one was actually in New Tampa in 2013.
Okay.
So we're a growing brand, but we've got 12 locations and growing now. So it's very exciting with actually an opening next week.
And that's going to be in Riverview.
That's right.
That's awesome.
That's
so
right.
We're at the Carrollwood location right now. I've got one by me in Wesley Chapel, which opened up just over a year ago.
Yep.
That's fantastic. Where are the other locations in the Tampa Bay area?
Yep, so we're live here in Carrollwood. We've got 2 in Pinellas, 1 in Brandon, 1 in Lakeland. We got 1 in Odessa, Lutz area, and then we got Brooksville, Sarasota. So we're trying to hit all those markets in our surrounding Bay area.
And Jen, the good news is this is a great place to watch the big game.
Absolutely.
But you guys are sold out, right, for tomorrow, all your locations.
Yeah, we
so
are.
Unless you have a ticket, Glory Days is not the place to go unless you want to get takeout food. Tell us about those specials.
Absolutely. So yeah, we are sold out every year. We sell out our restaurants with reserved seats where guests get to come in and they get to pick where they want to sit so they can get the best viewing possible for the best game of the year. So we did sell out. We started selling tickets well before we even knew the Bucs were going to make it to the Super Bowl this year. So if you're going to be having your party at home, we have buy 50 wings of our best wings
These
and
are
get
phenomenal.
24 boneless free. We highly recommend you pre-order and call now. So you can pick the time slot you want to have, and you can come pick it up. We bring it to your car, and you'll be ready for the big game.
And Jen, those are the boneless wings right there, right? So I was featuring the traditional wings that you can get dry rub or with sauces. These are the boneless wings right here. And these are phenomenal as well.
We hand cut our boneless, and we also bread them ourselves. And then you get to pick from our 12 different sauces, whichever one you like. And that's what we'll toss them in.
And the thing too is this is one of my favorites. This is the buffalo chicken dip here with nachos. You got to see this. This is phenomenal. This dip is fantastic.
It's awesome.
And you use the same type of buffalo sauce that you use on the wings as well.
Yep.
And Jen, one of my favorite things, and my wife Ashley, when we come to Glory Days, we always hit on the $5 margaritas,
Yeah.
right?
Where we got one of these over here somewhere.
Yep. Let's bring one of those in if we can.
See my grab one. Our $5 Ritas are our #1 selling cocktail. You get 24 ounces of our homemade margaritas.
Look how big this is. Now this typically, Jen, is when you look at a margarita and you go out and it's the special margarita.
Yeah.
It's in a small glass filled with ice.
Yeah.
Look how big this is. This is huge.
This is to the rim.
Yes.
We don't skimp, and we hand make our margaritas every day. And again, it's one of our #1 sellers.
And the thing is, the margaritas are so good that you can not just have them here in Glory Days, but you can also get them to go as well.
That's right. This came in handy when we were all in a shutdown during the pandemic, and this is when we were selling our gallons of margaritas. People were picking them up when they were staying at home and getting them through the pandemic. And we're still selling them, and it's a great game day add-on with your wings or your sliders for tomorrow or your nachos. So we highly recommend you can get one of these boys for $20, or you can get a gallon of sangria.
It's $20, folks, for a whole gallon of sangria
Or margaritas.
or margaritas.
You can get it flavored too.
Yeah. So you've got that to go. You've got the 50 wings, and then you're going to get 25 boneless.
24.
24 boneless
24
wings
boneless free.
at no charge.
charge.
That's a heck of a deal.
Yeah.
So if you can, now for people that might want to come in, and you can order this today at glorydaysgrill.com or by calling your favorite Glory Day location.
Right. You can order online on glorydaysgrill.com, or you can call your nearest location and you put in your order, and you literally can pick your own time slot to your convenience. For tomorrow, we'll bring it right to your car.
That's fantastic. Now, so Sunday's sold out and packed, but what can fans out there expect from Glory Days throughout the week? Because you have different specials.
We do.
During the week.
We do. Well, I'll give you a small tip.
Okay.
Okay, so we got something special we're planning on Monday. We are highly anticipating our Bucs to win, and we know that they're going to win tomorrow, and we're going to celebrate with a victory Monday. And so when the Bucs win tomorrow night, we're going to send out a blast, and it's a free pint of beer on Monday to come raise a glass to our Bucs champs. So you're hearing it first right
That's
now.
Awesome.
But that's our plan on Monday. But yes, we do have other specials. We have all day, every day happy hour, which is like no other restaurant. We have Burger Monday, where you can get our best burgers for $8.99. We have Nacho Tuesday, our fish fries on Friday. So we've got specials every day. Just go to our website at glorydaysgrill.com.
That's awesome. Well, Jen, thanks for having us
Thank
out
you.
here.
Appreciate
We're super
it.
excited about the partnership, and Glory Days is also sponsoring the Pewter Predictions and Preview on PewterReport.com. We just put that article up on PewterReport.com yesterday, and that's going to be running all throughout the 2021 season. So we're going to be featuring a different menu item in each week to get you in here to Glory Days. If you have not eaten here, it is my favorite restaurant in Tampa. And anybody that knows me knows that's the case. Spends an awful lot of time at Glory Days. It's a great time with all the TVs to come in and watch sports and listen, when football season's over tomorrow night, I mean, college basketball is going on, lightning hockey. You've got the NHL, Major League Baseball getting ready to get kicked up, NBA. So it's a great place to watch the sporting events. You guys are not shy when it comes to TVs. How many TVs do you have in this location? Do you even know?
We average around 50 to 55 TVs in every location, and with the best quality that we can. So yeah, there's no bad seat.
That's true.
There's no bad seat.
That's a fact. But Jen Ulmer, thank you so much.
Scott.
Thank you for having us out here at Lori Days, Carrollwood. We're going to bring in John Ledyard back in here, as we've got a couple of special guests that are lined up that are going to be here around 12:30. We're going to have Martine Grammatic, and around 1 o'clock we're going to have Dwight Smith. So, John, you get some of this food here. This is your first time because you come down from Pennsylvania.
Right.
You moved to Florida in December.
I'm just interested if can we be on screen and eating? I don't know what your policies are.
I'm fine with that.
I'm not going to be able to help myself very much longer.
You're welcome to dive into some wings or some of this buffalo chicken dip, which is phenomenal.
Eating wings live on the air. It's not something I ever envisioned.
I know. Well, listen, we've got some comments here from some of our loyal readers and visitors. Yes, we're going to get to Dwight Smith. We're going to talk about some of the controversy here. But Coy Christensen, here we go, baby. Currently on a plane, flying to New York to watch the game with my brother. That's so cool. Lifelong Bucs fans. It's only right we watch it together. It's going to be different, John, covering this Super Bowl, right? Actually being, this is our first time covering the game. When you look at Super Bowl Sunday, usually we're with friends and families watching another team.
Right.
This year it happens to be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. John, how much credit are you going to be taking this year for helping the Buccaneers, since this is your first year covering the team?
It is funny. We do appreciate the super chats that are coming in now too. If you do have the ability to send us some super chat donations, greatly appreciated. All that goes back in our Pewter Report coverage of the team and of this Super Bowl run, and so we do greatly appreciate those super chats coming in and the fact that they've come in so steadily over this season. Scott, I think I'm going to take all the credit if possible. No, I'm just kidding. But I actually said to Britt the other day, I said, I don't know if you realize, I said, you realize the Bucs haven't lost since we moved here. Their bye week, we moved during their bye week.
That's right.
They haven't lost since the bye week. So I'm like, this is a lot of pressure on this game. So if they don't win, it could be a long time.
So, John, you're saying it was the adjustments that Drew Arians, Aaron Leftwich, and Todd Bowles made.
But mainly,
it was also you moving to the state of Florida.
Mainly, is us moving to the state.
And you are undefeated at Raymond James Stadium.
That's true.
So you've seen 2 games. Your first game was the Vikings game.
Yep.
Then the Falcons
week
game.
17, yes. So 2-0 at the stadium. So yeah, it'll be good. Putting a lot to the test tomorrow. And yesterday was my 1-year anniversary.
That's right.
Report, which is super exciting. 1 year with y'all doing some awesome coverage, and obviously it's been a crazy year in bad ways with COVID and good ways with the football team. And so it's been a lot of fun. So yeah, there's a lot. Be nice to put a bow on this whole thing on Sunday, but it's going to be difficult. We talked about it at length this week on the podcast. I've gone so far to say, Scott, and I'm curious, you've been around the team way longer than I have. I've just kind of looked through. If the Bucs win tomorrow in the Super Bowl against Kansas City Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, where does that win rank for you, do you think, all time in Bucs history?
It's tough because this is my 25th year covering the Bucs, almost 26, 25. It's hard for me to put this ahead of the 2002 win, only because that was the first.
Right.
But, John, sometimes the first time isn't always the best time, right? You know what I'm saying?
True.
For a lot of things. So this would have to be, I think, and we'll see how it plays out.
Yeah.
But if the Buccaneers do win, they beat Patrick Mahomes and this Chiefs team, it's going to be up there, and it might even surpass it. We'll have to see. Yeah. And the reason why I say it might even surpass it is because this is at Raymond James Stadium.
Yeah,
it's in Tampa with Tom Brady, and it has its own different mystique to it.
Yes.
That other one had the mystique because it was a homegrown Buccaneer team built with Warren Sapp and Derek Brooks, John Lynch, Rhonda Barber, Dwight Smith, Martine Gramatica, Mike Allstott, players that were organically brought up within this organization. And this team has its share too.
Right.
Vita Vea, Devin White, Sean Murphy Bunting,
Carlton Davis,
Donovan Smith, Ali Marpet. So it's going to be interesting.
Yeah. I feel like that Super Bowl, you're right. Like the first one, it's like always like you have to harken back to that one in a lot of ways. But in my opinion, like the fact that they're an underdog, the fact that it's at home, the fact that they're such an underdog, Tom Brady's age, the fact that they went from a non-playoff team to being a playoff team and then a Super Bowl team, a Super Bowl winning team in that scenario that we've laid out. Like all of that coupled with the fact that the Chiefs might be on their way to being a dynasty and might be I mean, they might be one of the better teams we've seen in the last 20 years.
No doubt, yes.
That puts a lot on this game to me. If the Bucs were to come away victorious, I think it would be one of the most impressive Super Bowl wins by a team ever.
Yes, and John, we got one of our special guests here. I see you, Jay Wretcher from WDAE. Come over here, man.
This is Jay.
Yeah, let's get you on here. Sure. Yeah.
What's up, man? What's up, man? Nice to finally meet you.
Come over here. So we're here with one of our longtime WDAE. And Jay Rich, congratulations on the afternoon show.
Thank you very much.
You're replacing a legend.
Yeah, man, no pressure.
Yeah, but at the same time, right? That's how legends are born, right?
That's right.
I mean, Tom Brady was not supposed to be starting quarterback. That was Drew Bledsoe, right?
That's true.
And all of a sudden, something happens, and it's Tom Brady's team.
So Ian's like the Mo Lewis, I guess. You got laid the hit on him. So.
Exactly. Yeah. So Jay. Again, congrats with you and Ian Beckles. You're on every afternoon, WDAE. What's the time slot?
3 o'clock, 3 to 7 now that there's no more coaches show through series. He's
Right.
a little busy. He's probably going to be a little busy on Monday.
So.
3 to 7 every day on WDAE. And, man, what a time to be alive, man.
Yeah.
Just kind of coming in at the right time with the Buccaneers. What a historic run. And I'm so
Yes.
happy for people that have been covering this team for so long, like yourself. And this is it's an insane thing. It's just supposed to happen like this.
I know,
Especially
right?
Fans of Tampa Bay, but man,
But listen, what a year! And you've really started this right with the Lightning, and then the Rays, and now the Buccaneers. So it's crazy how all of a sudden Tampa, in the midst of all this COVID, has become title town.
Yeah, Tampa Bay. I mean, we had Titus O'Neil on with us yesterday, and he goes, "I know it sounds a little hokey," and I go, "Yeah, it sounds hokey if it's not true."
Right.
But and you feel the love, man. People say Team Tampa Bay. In the introductory press conference last Friday, the representative from the NFL goes, "Yeah, first time I heard Team Tampa Bay, it was kind of
right."
But he's like, the support is real. At the Lightning game last night at Emily Arena, 5-6 times, it was good luck Buccaneers. They play weekend in the background, so they have the flag up inside the tunnel before they hit the ice. So it's really cool to see the love from all the teams in Team Tampa Bay.
And the thing is, we just had a post on there from Adam over in Ireland, who's a big fan of our podcast. Here you've got Timo, Go Bucks from Germany, been a subscriber since the magazine days when shipping was more expensive than the magazine itself. We'll win 34-28 tomorrow. What is your prediction? What are you thinking about this Bucs-Chiefs matchup? Obviously, Week 12, didn't quite get it done. Started off 17-0 in the hole. They came back, made it a game late, couldn't get the ball away from Mahomes, lost 27-24. Jay Wretcher, what are you thinking about tomorrow night?
Well, the big thing with me, I think the Bucs have shown, whether it's in-game or whether it's throughout the season, of adjustments.
Yeah.
I think they're going to look at that game, but they're also going to self-assess and go, hey, how are we different? And you guys talk about this a lot as well. As much as the players have gotten better over the year, the coaches have gotten better over the year too.
Yeah.
So Byron Leftwich knows, hey, what plays work, what plays don't work.
Right.
I think Todd Bowles, he's kind of going to be the key here.
Yeah.
Loves that pressure, but it's not necessarily what you do with Patrick Mahomes.
Well, exactly.
But I think the key here early on is the Buccaneers starting fast.
Yeah.
Chiefs, we've seen that in the playoffs. We've seen the last couple of years. It takes a little while for them to kind of get going. I think if the Buccaneers get 7 instead of 3 early on, it's going to be a huge key. I got 35-30 Buccaneers taking it home.
There you go. I got 34-31, so we're thinking along the same lines.
It's going to be points.
Oh, yeah.
For people that think it's going to
Yes.
be a low-scoring game, I don't know so much about that, but it's going to be entertaining. I think that's the most important thing for Tampa fans, Kansas City fans, or fans from all around the world. All eyes are going to be on Tampa Bay. Tomorrow, less than 24 hours away, everything's going to start getting ratcheted up. It's very exciting.
The interesting thing is you and I both have the point total over 30. Jay, when this Buccaneer team scores 30 points or more, they're 11-0 this year, including 6 straight games. And so that's 6 out of the 7 that they've won. The Buccaneers' 7-game winning streak is actually the longest in franchise history. Even when they finished 12-4 in the 2002 season, they didn't win 7 in a row. They only won 6. So this is the longest winning streak the Buccaneers are on. And you know what? Everyone's hoping it's going to get to 8, right?
Let's do it, man. 8 in a row. I'm down with that. It's been a hell of a ride, man. And you heard Devin White and Tom Brady talk about it after the last game. I don't think they played their best game yet.
Exactly.
If they can play their best game tomorrow, they'll be Super Bowl champions for the second time in franchise history.
I agree. So we've got a fan here, Bucs fan in New Jersey since 1980. I mean, this is really – I'm sure you've taken some calls this week too, not just from Tampa Bay area fans, but from fans probably around
around the country and around
right?
the world.
Yeah.
And that's the great thing about the iHeart app is that people still listen to us. And we always think so much about people, and you know this, about people leaving their homes and coming here to Tampa Bay, like the majority of the people that we know.
Right.
But there's also a slew of people that started here and have gone elsewhere and go, hey man, we've been waiting for this. We had a guy on earlier this week. You know, I've been a Bucs fan since the beginning, and I've been waiting for a day like this. And it's crazy how much sports really means to people. It really changes their whole perspective on their own daily life. So yeah, it's been a great kind of tie-in for everybody. And you know, Team Tampa Bay spreads far and beyond the Sunshine State.
Have you had some of these buffalo dips?
Not today, but you just
dive in, my friend. It's so good.
This is how we roll.
This is how we're going to roll. You know, you were mentioning, Jay, about what I call the displaced Buccaneer fans, right? The fans that start here or have an affiliation to that. And I think there's really two groups of fans. And for you viewers out there that are longtime Pewter Report subscribers, back when we had a magazine, back in what was called Buccaneer Magazine, we would have kind of two groups of fans. One from the UK, right? Because a lot of people would vacation in Florida from England. And then they kind of latch on to this American football, and the Buccaneers became their team because of those weekends and weeks spent in Clearwater and St. Pete at the beaches. And then the other ones are the folks at McDill.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, you have people that are stationed in Tampa that latch onto this team, and then they get deployed to Germany. They get deployed, you know, to the West Coast or the Pacific or different stations all across the country, Pensacola. And they become Buccaneer fans. So when we would send out our printed copy of the magazine, we would send some overseas, and Team Open Germany was exactly right. The shipping, the international shipping would cost more than the actual subscription. But we had diehard Buccaneer fans that would go out there and do that.
Worth the content, man. We still actually have some old magazines at WDAE, the old Buccaneers magazine. It's got your name on it. It's great. But you're right. I mean, we have people that hit us up on Twitter, especially. I mean, imagine if we didn't have Twitter. It's so crazy, especially overseas. In England, there's so many people that chime in.
Yes.
Even though the times aren't always the best for them to either listen to the content or watch the content, they're there. They're dedicated. It could be 4 or 5 in the morning. They don't care. They want their Buccaneer coverage. And I can't tell you, at least once a week we get somebody from McDill. Hey, I got 5 minutes. I just wanted to call in and talk about the Bucs. Hey, we're in Fort Hood or Fort somewhere else, and we're saying, hey, we were stationed in McDill back in the early 2000s, and I grew up, you know, being a Warren Sapp fan. And those people still call in. So those, you know, those pewter colors really, they cut deep, and they really, people are just such huge Buccaneer fans, and it's been worth the wait for them.
Well, Jay, we really appreciate you coming out tonight.
Thank you, buddy.
And I would imagine that should the Buccaneers win, well, let's not say should, let's say will, when the Buccaneers win on Sunday night, you're going to be having one hell of a Victory Monday show on WDA.
We might have a Victory Monday Sunday night, Monday morning. I mean, it's going to be crazy. We're ready to be on all night long. So that's going to be crazy. I slept in my office when the Lightning won the Stanley Cup. I'm fully prepared to sleep in my office once again when the Buccaneers win the Super Bowl. We're on tomorrow. We're going to be on all night. It's going to be crazy. And, of course, we love having you guys on with us, man.
Absolutely.
The whole crew at Pewter Report and WDA.
It's a great partnership.
Such a great partnership, man. And it's one of those things when people ask me, oh, where do you guys go for your Buccaneer coverage? And I say, right here, brother. PewterReport.com. You can't beat it. The mailbags, the podcasts that you guys do. And I love it because it's you, it's Mark, it's John, it's Matt and Taylor. Everybody, Cliff does a great job with the photos. I mean, it really is, it's a team effort. And I think that's the best thing in all sports media. You know, it's not when it's just one figurehead guy. It's when everybody's chiming in. You guys do such a fantastic job. And people go, did you read this? And I'm like, yeah, of course. They're our partners. Read them every week. So yeah, it's a great partnership. And PewterReport.com. I'm sure you guys are gonna be all over it the next 24 hours.
We are. It's been a long 2 weeks. It's gonna be culminating tomorrow night, you know, and then we're gonna hopefully have some awesome Victory Monday coverage for the Buccaneer fans. That's true. Jay, thank you so much for stopping by.
Appreciate you, man.
Yep.
Good stuff.
Yeah, this food's phenomenal, John.
Yeah, man.
John, you got to get in here and try some of this buffalo chicken dip.
Okay, so full disclosure.
Yes.
While I was not on the air there for a moment, I ate several wings and a pretzel stick, and they were all phenomenal. So, yes, I'm going to try this.
And
this
John,
is your favorite.
Yes, that's outstanding. So, one of the cool things about the Riverview location, John, is you live close to it. So you're going to have a Glory Days right in your neck of the woods. See, for me, I'm spoiled because I got a Glory Days literally 10 minutes from my house at Wesley Chapel. So I think you're going to be experiencing the same thing.
Well, it's going up. It's probably, it's down a couple of miles. It's probably 3 miles from my house.
Nice.
And I've seen them putting it up.
Yeah.
And you've told me about Glory Days and how good the food was for a while. Like since I started, I think.
Yep.
And so, I'm very excited. I think this week is when it opens. I think this upcoming week. Maybe
Yes,
this upcoming
I think
week
so.
from
Yep.
today, maybe, or something. Or tomorrow.
Yep.
Or yesterday. But yeah. So, Bucs coverage.
Yes.
Chiefs game. Super Bowl we have
Yep.
coming up. We do love talking about all these other things, but the heart of this is, and there was a question up here. I'm going to scroll up
go
to
for
it.
While you do that, I'm going to grab this margarita, John.
Yeah, grab that margarita and start chugging. Here's a good question. There was a good question for you in here. Charlie Abrahams, who's a faithful listener, says, so I'm dying to ask you this, SR. In your opinion, win or lose, has JP already done enough to be inducted into the Bucs Ring of Honor?
Wow. That's a fantastic question.
I don't know what it takes. What's the least, I don't want to say least deserved.
Yeah.
That seems mean, but how many years, as the guys that have been in the Bucs Ring of Honor, I don't know as well as you do. Is it like a
there's no particular criteria. It's something that Blazers kind of choose. But John, all right. So this is a great question, Charlie. This is a fantastic question. Here's my line of thinking: if Tom Brady wins a Super Bowl this year, I think he's in the Ring of Honor.
Oh, Tom Brady.
Yeah. Right.
I didn't know where you were going with that.
I'm just saying, right? So this is the greatest quarterback season for a Buccaneer. The yards aside, it's the touchdowns. Now, Brad Johnson couldn't make an argument for being in there too, then, because he brought this team to 12-4 in the Super Bowl. But I'm just saying,
he's Brad Johnson at the end of the day.
Yeah, and we love Brad, we do. But what I'm saying is, I don't think Tom Brady's done. He's got next year.
Sure.
And they could be back in this game. Where's the Super Bowl next year? What's the location? Remember?
I don't know.
All right. Well, wherever it is, I'm just.
Somebody throw it in the chat.
I'm just saying. I think there's 2 or 3 years here where Tom Brady is going to cement his Ring of Honor status. Okay. So having said that, if Brady can get in the Ring of Honor with only 1 or 2 or 3 years, doesn't JPP, who this is his 3rd season in Tampa Bay. He's been the Bucs' leading sacker twice. He's a 1-time Pro Bowler with this team. Would that be enough to qualify him if they win the Super Bowl? You know what I think helps his cause? I think if he ends up being the Super Bowl MVP.
Oh, that would help his cause.
I think that would help his cause.
Yeah.
I'm not ready to put JPP in there yet, but what I am thinking is
he's got another year too. He's going to be back. He's going to start.
Yes. So he's got another year to help build that case, but I wouldn't rule him out. I think the surefire guys that are on this Buccaneer team that are going in, surefire, are Levante David and Mike Evans.
Right.
Those are the 2 players for sure that I think are, because of what they've done over their Buccaneer careers. And now they finally have had that missing piece, the postseason, right, to get in. And we'll have to see. I think Devin White has Pro Bowl ability. He's got that type of Pro Bowl caliber ability, and he's already in the Super Bowl now.
Yeah.
So, and we'll see who comes down the pike. I think for offensive linemen, it's all about longevity, right? Paul Gruber was in there because he was an Iron Man. I know fans may not like him, but Donovan Smith is playing his best football he's ever played since the bye week. Right? And this guy is an Iron Man at left tackle. And I don't think he's going anywhere next year, John. I think we can kind of break some news. The Bucs are going to have to do some salary cap maneuvering next year. And if it's going to involve Donovan Smith, John, it's going to involve a short-term contract extension, add a year or 2 on, and then maybe go ahead and lower that cap number from $14.25 million to $10 million, something like that, and give them the guaranteed money.
Yeah, that's the way I think. And keep this in mind. I know everybody's thinking about the Super Bowl, but I know there are fans out there that are like, okay, what's going to happen after this? Like, what's going to happen with the free agents and stuff like that? We will get to that. We'll have comprehensive coverage of all that. We have notes on all these guys. We've been doing our homework on it. We're ready. We're just waiting for the topic to move that direction. But I do want to say this to Bucs fans, no matter what happens on Sunday night, if the Bucs want to bring back Chris Godwin, Levante David, Rob Gronkowski, and Shaq Barrett, and then keep Ryan Jensen and Donovan Smith, they can do it. And I think they're going to want to keep the team intact.
Yes.
Personally, I'll be surprised if those guys are anywhere else. So Dominican Sue, what do you want to do? And how cheap are you willing to do it for? But he's the second oldest D tackle in the league to take a snap this year, Scott. So, in my opinion, Sue is either retiring or coming back no matter what happens in this game. I think same thing with Steve McClendon, really. If the Bucs want him back, he doesn't get the money. He's the oldest defensive tackle playing to take a snap this season. And so, for him, it's come back or retire, I think. And so those guys, they have kind of a leverage advantage. Same with Gronk. Gronk's already said he's coming back, so he has lost any leverage. Not that he cares about that anyway. The other guys, Antonio Brown, that's the one every fan's going to want to know about. I don't know whether – it depends what
and playoff Lenny.
Playoff Lenny, yes. Fans do want to know about playoff Lenny. I don't expect it for Lenny, but I do think AB, it's going to depend what he's asking for, what else he's getting out there, really. I think AB will chase the money wherever that is. This was to resurrect his career. He'll chase the money now, I think. But what was he going to get? How much guaranteed is he going to get? I don't know. Maybe he needs another year to rehab things. I don't know.
And maybe he needs Tom Brady, right? I mean, I think that might be a little bit of a cause of concern for some NFL teams out there, John, is okay, Antonio Brown did great in half a season in Tampa, living at Tom Brady's house with Bruce Arians and all these ex-Steeler teammates that he had and coaches that kind of kept him in line. And he was a good boy for 8, well, not 8 weeks. Now we're looking at 10 weeks, right? 11, yeah. But you know what I'm saying? Like, I wonder if that's gives some teams pause out there and say, okay, you were great in that environment in Tampa, but I don't necessarily want to give you a king's ransom, pull up a Brinks truck to the back of your house, dump off some money, and then have you revert to the guy that, worked his way out of Las Vegas, Oakland, whatever it was,
No, I agree. It's going to be an interesting situation with him on a lot of levels. I mean, he's also got, I've lost track of the dates now, but I think he's got some legal stuff coming up too. That's going to have a lot to do with whether he plays again or not. So that stuff's all still coming our way. So James White.
Well, it's interesting, right? We're talking about free agency, and it is funny on Twitter, right? And it probably gives Buccaneer fans, John, a little bit of a heart attack maybe to sit there and see, like, oh gosh, oh no, the Colts are going to be after Chris Godwin. Okay, well, let them come after Chris Godwin because I think he's going to get franchised. I think Chris Godwin's going to get the franchise tag, and they're going to try to do a long-term deal with Shaq Barrett. But it's kind of funny to see, the so-and-so team is looking at Shaq Barrett as free agent number one, pass rusher, and all that. I think the Bucs are going to get the right of first refusal from a lot of these guys because of the success they had. But since we're talking free agency, James White in a Bucs uniform, it's interesting, John, because if Fournette goes, we know that LaShawn McCoy is not going to be back given his age. So you've got Ronald Jones and Keyshawn Vaughn, 2 guys. You're going to need 2 more. One of those guys, and I think if there's been one bone to pick in this offense for Tom Brady, is it hasn't been that reliable pass catcher. We've seen the drops by Fournette. We've seen the drops from Rojo. But having that pass catching running back out of the backfield, and John, James White, Rex Burkhead, Dion Lewis, all 3 guys have played with Brady in New England, all going to be free agents.
There's a lot of options they could go to. I mean, I said this throughout the season. It's not necessarily a really difficult position to fill. They just kind of missed one. It's the only thing they missed on basically all offseason. Now, they've obviously got capable people. It's not like they, there's a lot of guys that play running back in the NFL. Like, it's probably one of the positions that I would say that's deeper around the league. And Fournette's been a capable receiving back. Pass protection is really where they hurt. I always go back to, Scott, and I know we said some listeners mentioned this, but Dare Ogunbowale, if they had kept him and maybe not signed LaShawn McCoy, do you think, you watched Dare protect for years, but I just came in watching last year's tape. I thought he was the best pass protector back then.
I did too. I like Dare. I wish he had stayed for sure. Sorry, I'm getting down these nachos. They're just too good.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
We're here for 2 hours, folks. So I'm going to eat too.
But so I think it's like one of those things. Dare Ogunbowale, like, you can fill the role. I don't know that you need to use a first-round pick on it, but we'll certainly be talking a lot about that when the offseason comes too. James White will be a possibility. So we'll see. I think that there's definitely we're getting off-season questions. I wasn't expecting this today, but we got to tackle them. Animal asked for a $5 super chat, and we appreciate that, Animal. Could you foresee the Bucs drafting a quarterback this year? I think it's possible. They will start doing their homework on quarterbacks this year. I would bet against it, at least in the first round. I'm assuming we're talking about early in the draft. I think I bet against it at this point in the draft. I just think that they have other needs they want to fill, but more than anything, I think you're going to see 4 or 5 quarterbacks come off the board before the Bucs get picked in the first round. So at that point, what are you getting? I mean, and it's not the year to kind of give up a lot of resources probably to move up. I mean, it could be if somebody looks like they're falling a little bit, Lamar Jackson style, if somebody's falling like that. But more than likely, I think you'll see them pass on quarterback.
Sure.
It could take a mid-round, late flyer, another one, and you'll see them evaluate other positions and their needs for now.
Well, the thing to me, John, is when you look at there's a handful of good quarterbacks in this draft, and again, we'll do plenty of draft shows and get into this hard and heavy at that time. Sure, we'll take a Celsius. Absolutely.
Thank
you.
Thank you very much.
We got Celsius here, folks. So if you haven't had the chance to come on down to the Carrollwood Glory Days, now's the time. Celsius got here with some cold energy drinks.
Raspberry green tea one. I haven't even tried this one yet. I'm so excited.
No doubt.
Food and Celsius, God.
And Bucs talk. It doesn't better than this.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Super Bowl weekend. Let's go.
So when it comes to quarterbacks, and I've told Jason like this. I do give Jason my 2 cents.
Yeah.
Sometimes in person, sometimes via text. It's unsolicited, but he listens sometimes. Sometimes he doesn't. But I can tell you sometimes when he does listen, but we'll do that off the air. But when it comes to quarterbacks, I've now seen this franchise draft Josh Freeman and also draft Jameis Winston.
Yes.
That's 10 years of quarterback,
Right.
that were drafted in the first round, which is, if you're going to draft a quarterback, that's really when you want to do it. Want to get one of the elite premier guys.
Right.
And the problem with that is, John, neither one of them worked out.
Yes.
There was a 10-6 season for Freeman. There was a 9-7 season for Winston.
Yeah.
But neither one of them got the Bucs to the playoffs. Neither one of them could sustain the success. That's what you want a quarterback for, to help your franchise sustain success. And so, to me, I think that's that's something that is concerning when you draft a rookie quarterback.
Yeah.
Is for every Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson, there are tons and tons and tons of misses.
Right, and it's the hardest position to evaluate. I mean, everybody's got the misses, and that's if you're drafting, at the very top with Jameis Winston, an overall pick. And it took 5 years for them to figure out the guy. And so, yeah, it's a very difficult position, and that's why it's so important. If you're picking 31 to 32, lower by 32, then you're not in position to date the best quarterback in the draft almost all the time. I mean, the Russell Wilson, Tom Brady situations are the exception, overwhelmingly, rather than the rule. So, I just think it's very important that people are realistic about you can get a quarterback at 30 and 32, but you're almost certainly not getting the best quarterback in a draft like this, where there's probably 5 going to be gone at that point. You're probably not getting anywhere close to the best one. So you were literally taking one to take one. And I said this when they took Keyshawn Vaughn. That's just a bad strategy for the draft period. You don't want to do it with any position. You definitely don't want to do it.
Now, I see some value, in having somebody learn under Tom Brady, to learn under the best quarterback in Tampa Bay history and NFL history. So there is a value to that. The only problem, though, when you're looking at having a quarterback in the draft, is if you don't hit, it's a wasted pick.
Right.
And John, you look back at all of the quarterbacks that have helped this team get to the playoffs, have been in 2002, Brad Johnson. In 2005, it was Brian Greasy. Now Chris Sims came in and helped out after the broken or the torn ACL actually by Greasy.
I'm trying to remember injuries for a minute.
Sims injured the spleen, but that was in a non-playoff year.
Okay.
But then you look in 2007, it was Jeff Garcia. And then this year, it's been Tom Brady. It's all been free agent quarterbacks.
Yeah.
And by the way, when you look at Bruce Arians, that's for you, babe. Yeah, we got a margarita for you.
Definitely.
You've got Carson Palmer out there. And yes, he had some success with Andrew Luck, who was the number 1 overall pick, but Luck was an exception, Maybe that was a lucky pick.
Right. Yeah, no, I think you're right. Now, you can't let the past scare you off from doing something in the future, too. You know what I mean? Like, this is a team that will probably need to draft a quarterback. That's how most teams find their success at the position. And this is kind of going to be an offseason where there's a lot of quarterback movement, and the Bucs will be one of the few teams not involved probably, which that doesn't happen very often, so probably not going to happen again very soon. And so what you've got probably is a situation where there'll be movement, but the Bucs won't be involved, and then you'll have less movement after that moving forward. So I don't know whether the Bucs will be able to capitalize on another prime free agent or a trade, like if you consider Carson Wentz still a good quarterback or quarterback that has promise. So I say that to say I think the most likely outcome for this team eventually at the quarterback position is going to be to draft one. But I'm also not rolling out 2 more years of Tom Brady. In fact, I would say, I mean, obviously next year is guaranteed, but I would say 2 more years of Tom Brady would be what I would bet on at this point in time. Now, can we talk about – I don't know what JT is talking about here. Thoughts on Shaq's girlfriend posting about him signing with the Jaguars on her Instagram story?
Yeah. Well,
I don't know what this means.
That violates all NFL protocol because free agency does not start until later.
Also, isn't Shaq married or is he not married? I can't remember. But either way, what do the Jaguars have to do with anything right now?
Yeah, well, I will say this. That,
we need more details.
Yeah, but my good friend, Joe Cullen, who was the Bucs defensive line coach, I got to know Joe when he was down here in Tampa. Then he went up to Baltimore to be the Ravens defensive line coach. And now he's the Jacksonville Jaguars defensive coordinator. Right. That's really cool. Right. And so I'm really happy for Joe. And, Joe's going to be looking for pass rushers. That's what he's all about. No question. And Shaq will be in demand. But at the same time –
they've also drafted 2 in the first round in the last 2 years.
Yes.
But I think you're right. They're still looking for him. So that tells you all you need to know about that.
Right. So I wouldn't be surprised if Shaq Barrett gets his play in free agency.
Oh, he'll get play if he is.
For sure.
For sure.
But the thing about Shaq is, and I was asked when I did the taping for the Insiders on WDE, who was my pick if it's going to be a defensive player for the MVP? Who would it be? And the player that I picked was Shaq Barrett.
Who's got a great matchup, right?
Yeah. Andrew Wiley, the right guard, is moving to right tackle because Mike Remmers, who was filling in at right tackle for Mitchell Schwartz, their best offensive lineman, is now moving to left tackle. So this is almost like the Green Bay situation all over again, John, where David Bakhtiari's out, and it prompted the Packers a couple weeks ago to move Billy Turner from right tackle to left tackle, right. And then you bring in Rick Wagner off the bench to play right tackle. And Rick Wagner got schooled by Shaq for 3 sacks. Right. I could see Andrew Wiley, who's a guard, coming in at right tackle getting schooled for 3 sacks. And to me, John, in a year and where Shaq Barrett underwhelmed in terms of statistics, not pressures. He was second in the league in pressures. But in terms of getting the quarterback on the ground and the forced fumbles, 8 sacks compared to 19 and a half. John, if he's the Super Bowl MVP and Shaq gets 3 sacks in the Super Bowl as a result, that's the equivalent of him getting 19 and a half sacks because he will be that will be the story.
Oh yeah.
Right? On Monday.
Doesn't matter who his opponent was, that'll be the story.
Exactly. And what a bigger stage. You couldn't ask for a bigger stage if you're Shaq Barrett heading into free agency than to have that type of command performance in the Super Bowl.
Right. No, I completely agree. I think that he has been really impressive in the playoffs. Shaq, like so many Buccaneers, I know this is going to sound so cliche to fans sometimes, but he's not wired like a lot of football players that I've covered in my life. There's a lot of guys in the Bucs like that. I wasn't sure, I'll be honest with you, Scott, I wasn't totally sure what to make of it at first. I thought, man, there's a lot of players on this team that they're just really nice guys and they're really about team first. Everybody says it. Some guys actually live it. And I'm not saying Shaq's going to take considerably less money or anything like that. I think that he's going to get paid for sure. Right. But it's definitely a situation in my mind that he's going to consider what's happened in Tampa and what has the opportunity to happen over the next 2 years pretty strongly before he makes any free agency decision. I think it's really important.
And just on one of the nicest team-oriented Buccaneers.
Yes.
We got one of the nicest team-oriented Buccaneers of all time here in Martin Gramatica.
I love it.
Martin, why don't you come around and join me here?
All right.
Thank you so much.
Super Bowl kicker, Martin Grammatic. Look at this shirt, man. This is fantastic. Good to see you, my friend. How are you? Absolutely, yeah. So we got Martin Grammatic, a Super Bowl champion here. Martin, you want to come a little closer?
Yeah, let me move his plate. I don't want to breathe all over his plate.
No, no worries. We're good. Yeah, we got all this food here from Glory Days.
How's that?
So how are you, man? This is exciting, right?
Oh, man, it's super exciting. I can't. It's like surreal still, I don't think we're going to really, it's going to hit till we see the team kind of come out of the tunnel.
Right.
That's kind of how I feel. I didn't really realize I was in the Super Bowl until our bus drove up to the stadium, and then you saw everything, Super Bowl flags, banners, everything. So that's kind of when it hit me. So as a fan now, I think that's going to hit us when they come out of the tunnel.
So the interesting thing is Martine, is you were the Super Bowl kicker 18 years ago in 2002. But Martine, you've been covering the Buccaneers.
I have.
Right? You've been actually in the stadium, so you're dialed into this Buccaneer team. And what are your thoughts on them making the Super Bowl in Tampa at Raymond James Stadium?
Yeah, no, it's been amazing to do the Spanish broadcast for the team, and it made me feel part of the team again. It made me get closer to the team, because before that, I followed them, I cheered for everything, but you have your life. I have my kids play sports, I'm all over the place on the weekends. Now I have to watch every single game, which is amazing. I'm super proud of the perseverance from this team. Because for the last 18 years, I've not been the greatest.
Right.
And all of a sudden, you build a team that it's Super Bowl or bust.
Right.
And to be able to achieve that, because it's not easy, the pressure these guys were under. Because
Yes.
when you build a team, and not just the players, but the organization, Jason Light, the coaches, you got to win today. And they achieved that. That's amazing. Because how many teams build themselves to win now and not look at the future and never make it?
The New Orleans Saints are a prime example, right? They mortgaged their future. The Saints are like $92 million over the salary cap next year. Drew Brees is going to be gone. They had 4 shots at it. They were NFC South champions 4 years in a row, and they didn't make it.
Right. It was the same as the Cleveland Browns a couple of years ago.
That's
right?
right.
They were paper champions. They called them. Well, that pressure is not easy. And well, when you have the goal, though, that it helps a little bit. The whole year I've been saying, let's just get to the playoffs. It doesn't matter if we're 1 seed or 7 seed.
Right.
Just get in.
Just get in. Yeah.
He'll figure it out. He'll get us to the Super Bowl, and thank God it's happened.
All right, so we're going to get down memory lane here a little bit with you, Martine, okay?
I'm scared when you pull out the phone.
No, I just got some questions here. So it's funny, when Jason Light spent that second-round pick on Roberto Aguayo, fans were like, you don't draft a kicker, come on. I was like, wait a minute, you do draft a kicker, he's the right guy. Because Martin Gramatica was a third-round draft pick in 1999 by the Buccaneers.
It was a dream come true. It's one of those phone calls that I'll never forget.
Yeah.
When Rich McKay picked up the phone, called me, and then Tony Dungy jumped on the call and told me, welcome me to the team, and you're going to be a Buccaneer. Because honestly, if I had to choose a team, it would be the Bucs. Bill was playing at USF.
Right.
Santiago played after that. My wife went to USF. Well, I didn't know her then, but still, it was pretty good. So I wanted to come to Tampa. Yeah. Obviously, when you get drafted, you go anywhere.
Yeah.
But to get drafted by what I believed was my home team was amazing.
Well, the cool thing for me, being a Kansas State alum, was I saw this guy. Hey, John, can you cue up that Gramatica clip here?
Oh.
Yeah, we're gonna get on memory lane here. I told you, right? Let's see if we can get this thing.
Snap down. Grammatica's kick is up. The kick is long enough. The kick is good. He knocked it in there. 65-yard field goal for Martin Gramatica. It's a new Kansas State record, and the Cats will go to the locker room with a 59-7 lead.
Yeah, there you go. So that was a 65-yarder that you made at Kansas State, our alma mater. And that was a Luke Rosa year for you.
That was, yes.
Yeah.
The awesome thing about that is just the team. You saw how excited they are for me. That's the type of team that we had. We were really united, really close. And that's what we built here in Tampa with Tony Dungy.
Yes.
We started to build something like that, and then obviously Gruden got us over there. But yeah, when you play on teams like that, it's amazing.
Well, it was so cool, too, because obviously everybody knew about your celebrations. You're a soccer player at heart. Like, you could not that was your goal. Like, that was goal. That was you making the points for the team. And so your Buccaneer teammates totally embraced that here, and they loved your celebrations.
Yeah, no, it was great because at first when I got to the NFL, you just don't know how people are going to act. And I remember Trent Dilfer was our quarterback in my rookie year, and he was all fired up. And the first time I did it, and I did it in the preseason, I'm like, look, that's my Super Bowl right now. I just made it to the NFL. I don't care if it's regular season. I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to score points. So yeah, for me, it was like a soccer goal. I just don't understand how guys can do something positive to help their team, and just like, I'm used to no, man, you gotta get excited. And sports are about having fun and excitement.
Oh yeah, and that really endeared you to this fan base, like no other. I mean, I think still today you're probably the most popular kicker. And of course, that's not too hard because we've seen some really bad kickers here. But at the same time, though, you winning the Super Bowl, your Pro Bowl season, just the celebrations that you had were legendary. So the interesting thing is what brought you to Kansas State was Jim Leavitt.
Right.
He recruited you. Jim Leavitt was the co-defensive coordinator when I was at school there, because I'm older than this guy right here.
Yeah, I mean, not much.
and Bobby Stoops is the other defensive coordinator at Kansas State. So you got recruited to Kansas State. Then the Bucs draft you. And in the year that I came to Tampa Bay in 1995, I walked in the door with Derek Brooks and Warren Sapp in 95. That was Jim Leavitt's first year building the USF program.
Literally, from nothing.
Right, for nothing, yeah. He had a trailer, didn't have a football compound or anything. It was literally a trailer. And then he recruited your brother Bill to go to USF.
Right. Yeah, the thing is, that's Coach Levitt's loyalty to Bill Snyder. We had 22 guys from Florida at Kansas State at the time. And when he came to Tampa,
Darren Howard from St. Pete.
Right, Darren Howard. I mean, we had Mike Lawrence,
Tim Colston.
Yeah, we had a bunch of guys. But I love Florida. I love the weather here. So as soon as he signed with USF, I said, Coach, I'm coming down with you. It's like, no, I promised Bill Snyder I wouldn't take any of the Florida boys because we all wanted to get back home, right?
Sure.
You know those winters are not fun.
Oh yeah.
So Coach Levitt's family to us. I mean, he's the only coach to ever coach all three. He coached me against the state, coached both of my brothers. Nobody's ever.
That's right.
So yeah, he's family for us. I love it.
That's so cool.
So happy that he's got a nice gig at SMU now.
No kidding, right? Yeah. He's back as the defensive coordinator. So here's a little trivia question for you. Who was playing quarterback in your last Kansas State game for the other team? You remember who that guy was?
Oh, was the Saints guy? The Saints guy, maybe?
Drew Brees? Yeah, right? So that was a painful end to the 1998 season. Martin Grammatica's last year at Kansas State. Alamo Bowl against Purdue. Interesting Bucs facts. The quarterback coach for that team was Greg Olson.
Okay.
He was the quarterback quarterback coach for the Purdue Boilermakers. His quarterback was Drew Brees.
That's crazy. That's insane, right?
Yeah.
And you know, the reason we lost that game is because we were one game away from the national championship.
Yes.
So to us, go to the Alamo Bowl was like a defeat. Like
Exactly.
We did not want to be
You
there.
didn't want to be there.
But
It showed.
right. We were just very disappointed that we didn't make that national championship.
But interesting. And then all of a sudden, you come to the Buccaneers. Drew Brees starts off in San Diego, then comes to the Buccaneers. And then in 2002, you guys were 12-4.
Right.
But you were swept by the Saints that year, interestingly enough.
And we lost the first game to the Saints.
Yes, John Gruden's first game as head coach was a loss. And it happened on special teams. It was a blocked punt, a blocked Tom punt in the end zone for a touchdown.
You're going way far in these now.
I know, I'm saying.
I remember we went in and did one of those running field goals to tie it to overtime, and then we lost in overtime.
Yeah. And then you lose to the Saints earlier, but Martino was going back through the 2002 season, and not only were you 5-6 in the postseason, including being perfect in the Super Bowl for the kicks that you were able to attempt, right? Because there was a bad snap,
Right.
not your fault, right? But you were 5 of 6 in the playoffs. But Martine, you played such a huge role in getting this team to 12-4 and getting them there. There was a 38-yard game winner. You were 3 of 3 in Detroit, 38-yard game winner with 3 minutes left to help win that game at Detroit. I think it was closer than people wanted it to be.
I forgot about that one because I remember the other two legs.
I know. Well, okay. So then you were 4 of 4 at Carolina, right? And you're looking at a 12-9 win. You had a 47-yard field goal with 14 seconds left. Was that the most pressure-packed kick of your career at that time?
Well, at the time, yes, but you know what? I didn't feel any pressure because I felt so good. And obviously when you make 3, and the previous 2 were over 50, in the same quarter, the fourth quarter,
right?
I just felt like that there was no way I was going to miss that. And the team fought so hard. I don't know if you remember, Brad Johnson was out. He was injured. Rob Johnson was our starter that day. And then he gets hurt, and then Sean King, our third string, had to come in and get us in field goal range. So when you talk about a whole team effort and team, that was our Super Bowl year. It didn't matter. You know who was blocking for me on field goal?
Who?
99. See, I got trivia for you.
Warren Sapp.
Warren Sapp.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
We had some injuries. And
Yes.
so that shows you the type of team we had. We had Pro Bowlers, defensive tackles, Hall of Famer now, on the field goal team to help block. I mean, that's what we had.
Wow. So then you weren't done being the only offense on the day. Rob Johnson was still in at quarterback, and this team had to get to 12-4 because you guys were trying to get the bye, right? And so what happened was week 16 or 17, whatever it was, the last game of the season, you had you went to not Chicago, you went to Soldier Field. Soldier Field was being renovated. So you played in Champaign, Illinois, at the University of Illinois. Right. In a cold night game, right? Like freezing temperatures. Sunday night, yeah. And you accounted for all 15 points. You were 5 of 5. Simeon Rice's homecoming, he played it at Illinois. Tell me about that game because you're a Florida guy at heart. You had a couple of years out there in the frozen Manhattan winters.
My blood had already thinned.
Right, exactly. But tell me about that game.
That, to me, was the biggest game of the year, regular season wise, because everybody was talking about we can't win in the cold, we can't do this, we can't. So there was a lot of no's going into that game, but we all believed it. We did it. So once we won that game in the cold, and it was our defense was dominant, and we got enough points to win. That's all that really matters. Our defense was saying, get us 14, 15 points, we're going to win games. I mean, we beat Chicago 2 years prior to that, 6-3. I mean, that shows you that defense. So we just knew offensively, we just had to get a few points. That defense was going to help us.
So speaking of cool weather, right? You go to Philadelphia. Now that was a team, and I likened this, and you know, covering this year. I likened the Eagles' mastery over the Buccaneers to like the Saints' mastery over this Buccaneer team, right? Because the Buccaneers had lost 5 straight to the Saints prior to that divisional playoff game, including 4 straight under Bruce Arians. I mean, the Saints just had the Bucs number, and that was evident on Sunday night, 38-3. That was a huge blowout. Nobody saw that coming on Sunday night. But you guys finally went up there. You were perfect in that game. What was that atmosphere like? Because to me, and I went on the Jim Rome show after you guys beat the Eagles, and I was asked, well, how does this team match up against the Raiders in the Super Bowl? I said, it's over. The Bucs won. He said, wait a minute. And we're talking Rich Gannon, we're talking Charlie Garner, the Raiders. I said, no, you don't understand. They've already won the Super Bowl because they beat Philly and shut down the Vets. And that's exactly what my line of thinking is. When this Buccaneer team beat the New Orleans Saints in New Orleans, I picked them to beat the Packers. I picked them to beat the Chiefs. Tell me about that. Am I onto something there?
No, 100%. When we beat Philadelphia in Philadelphia, it didn't matter who got to the Super Bowl on the AFC side. Yeah. We didn't care. I mean, that was our Super Bowl. That was going to be our toughest opponent. They had beat us the last 2 years in the playoffs.
Right.
So, and it was one of those, again, cold. Nobody in the country or in the world thought we could win that game, except our locker room and maybe a couple fans. I don't even know if our fans believed we could win that game. But we went out there, and obviously it was a whole team effort again. And that was one of the most fun games I think I've ever experienced. Just the environment, because everything against you, the adversity, and just the perseverance of this team to just keep fighting. I see a lot of similarities with our team this year.
Right.
Like you said, you go to New Orleans where nobody expects you to win. I had a really good feeling we were going to beat New Orleans. I thought they were going to come in here overconfident, and we were going to be able to get them. I was worried about going to Green Bay after Green Bay. We beat them so much. So I was thinking like a mad Aaron Rodgers in Lambeau Field. That's going to be tough. And the weather. We're lucked out that the storm was the day before. So I think everything's aligning to be the same thing. The Chiefs are obviously a great opponent. Yeah. A very good team. But I have all the confidence in the world in these guys. They can figure out a way to get it done.
And you look back at what was your takeaway from that Week 12 loss? It started off 17-0 in the hole, but then all of a sudden the Bucs started to come back. If you look at that game in Week 12, you've got Kansas City starting off 17-0, but Martino, over the last 3 quarters of that game, the Chiefs only scored 10 points. And Patrick Mahomes in the second half, he only threw for 103 yards and a touchdown. Todd Bowles went to cover 2, went to cover 4, and really forced the Chiefs into that passing game. We saw the 4-man start to get home.
See, I'm hoping that it wasn't one of those where the Chiefs took the foot off the gas, and then because we're all talking about like the comeback, and the comeback was great, obviously, and that's the thing that this team has. It never gives up. I don't care what the score is.
Right.
And when you have a guy like Tom Brady that, has the biggest comeback in Super Bowl history, 28-3,
Right.
you always believe in it, and they're never going to quit. But yeah, I feel like defensively we have to play that bend but don't break type of defense.
Right.
And they're going to get their yards. They're going to get their plays.
Right.
Once they get to that red zone, that's where you tighten up and make sure they kick field goals.
Yep.
Whoever kicks field goals on Sunday's going to lose the game. This is a game where we have to score.
I agree. Now, so what you're saying is the kicker should be a factor, but on extra points.
100%. They're not gamers anymore. So.
But the interesting thing is you look at Tom Brady's Super Bowls with the Patriots, it usually comes down to an Adam Vinatieri field goal, a Stephen Gostkowski field goal. This could come down to a Ryan Suckup field goal. And Martina, I love you, right? I mean, we're K-State brethren here. We're Buccaneer, faithful. But Ryan Suckup, the year this guy's had, tell me about it from a kicker's perspective. It's the best year I think any kicker's had. 90% in terms of field goal percentage, 92% in the extra points, which they're field goals themselves. These
Right,
days,
exactly.
right?
No, he's had a Pro Bowl season.
Yeah.
There's no question he should have been in the Pro Bowl. If there was a Pro Bowl, that he was the guy that should have gone.
Yeah.
And we didn't have the luxury of losing games because of the kicker this year.
Right.
When you bring Tom Brady in for a short period and you're built to win now, and that's why I think the Bucs made a great decision. And not to say that Matt Gay won't be a great kicker in the league. He could. And he did really good with the Rams.
Right.
But Suckup has been that guy. When he lines up for a field, you know it's going in. And
That's right.
And they're going dead center. So it's not like he's sneaking a man. They're all dead center. So, yeah, he's had a phenomenal year. So, right now, we're not sweating. We're lining up for a field. So, it's awesome to have that feeling. Ryan's done a phenomenal job.
So you're going to be calling the game?
I am.
Tell me about what that experience is going to be like for you.
Well, I don't know that I get there. It's gonna be where I told Carlos, the play-by-play, I said, I hope you have a lot of words because I may just be frozen. Because there's times like, when there is a big play, I'm like frozen watching it. He's like, hey, he taps me on the shoulder like, you got to talk now.
Right.
Or the fan in me comes out. And when Mike Evans sprained his knee,
right.
we had a little beat moment.
But
so it's going to be amazing. I still cannot believe it. 3 years ago when we started doing the broadcast, that I would be calling a Super Bowl in my hometown, in my home stadium for my home team. I mean,
for a team that you played for, that's so amazing.
I couldn't believe it.
So Martine, I got two awesome stats for you to use in your broadcast that I dug up, right? Number one, the key number is 30 points or more because the Buccaneers are undefeated. They're 11-0 this year when they get 30 points or more.
Okay.
All right, so the Bucs, and that's why I'm predicting a Bucs win 34-31. What is your prediction for Sunday's game?
Well, I've been predicting that the Bucs win. I don't give a score. It doesn't matter. The score doesn't matter.
As long as it's by one, right?
It doesn't matter. So Bucs win.
Okay. So the other statistic is, and if you remember this Week 12 game, this is one statistic that really bothered me because I'm up in the press box with John Ledger watching this game. And I'm thinking to myself, it's like, like 3rd and 2 is a rundown, right? I mean, I understand this is a pass-happy league. You got Tom Brady, all this stuff. And from when you played, there's a lot more running back in the day, especially Mike Allstott, Michael Pittman, et cetera, right? But when they would go empty, and they did that 4 times in the first half, and they were 1 of 4. On 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2, or 3rd and 3, throwing the ball from empty, right? Because when you're empty, there's no threat that Tom Brady's going to run the ball, right? No. And it's no surprise that they had to punt, and the Chiefs built that lead. Not just because the defense gave up those touchdowns to Tyreek Hill, but because the offense wasn't doing its part either. Since the bye week, that's one of the adjustments this team has made. They have run the ball on what I call 3rd and short, 3rd and 3, 3rd and 2, or 3rd and 1, 10 times since the bye week. Martine, you know what the percentage is of making that? 9 out of 10. They've converted 9 out of 10 third downs by running the ball on 3rd and short. 3rd and 2 is a rundown. Run the ball.
Run the ball. That's why the bye week was phenomenal for us. It was the perfect timing for a bye week. On the mental side, the guys need a break. The season's so long, especially with the pandemic.
And they were out of gas one thing. I mean, you saw it in Kansas City.
Right.
You just were out of gas.
You need that break, but not only that physical break, that mental break. Where you get away for a little bit, and then it came out perfect time. We had four basically playoff games to get into the playoffs. And that's why those dangerous teams getting into the playoffs are the ones that are peaking at the right moment that need those games. Because look what happened in Pittsburgh. You start off hot, then you start to lose everything while you get into the playoffs. We're the opposite. We're on and off a little bit, but once after that bye week, we're on fire.
Yep. And so, that one time that they didn't make it, I mean, the 9 out of 10, 90% is pretty good, right? The one time they didn't make it was in New Orleans. They tried to run Ronald Jones up the middle on 3rd and 1, and he didn't get it. You know what they did on 4th down? Quarterback sneak.
Yeah,
there you go, quarterback sneak.
We didn't get it, but we got close enough to get it.
But they got it, exactly.
Right.
That's my big offensive adjustment is if Byron Leftwich, if they scrap that empty formation and stick with the running game, because possessions matter. The one thing I learned from John Gruden in all his years of coaching, I had a great relationship with Gruden. But the one thing I learned from him is he says, when you have that possession right before halftime, right, and you might get the ball back with 40 seconds left, 80 yards to go. If you don't try to go for it there, that's one of either 10, 11, or 12 possessions you get the entire game.
Right.
That's a scoring opportunity. And there's some coaches that are like, I'm good. We'll take this in at halftime. You're wasting a precious opportunity to put points on the board. And so I look at that as when you're giving up a possession with a punt, when you're surrendering, hey, we can't make it, we're going. Possessions are going to matter this game. I think it's going to be high scoring. You're going to need a ton of points to beat the Chiefs. That's why I predicted 34-31. And you got to be able to convert those 3rd and shorts to keep those drives going, and at least get a field goal out of it.
Absolutely. But the other thing too, though, 3 and outs are not bad compared to what we used to have in the past, where they were big sixes. So every now and then, if you don't have anything, that's the great thing about Tom Brady, though.
Yes.
He doesn't force the ball. He doesn't give the ball away. So at times you got to say, okay, you got it. Well, let's punt. But I agree with you. Every possession is going to matter. Like I said earlier, we got to put our kicker away. We cannot kick field goals and win this game. So obviously, at the end, if we need one, that'd be great. That we have something. But early in the game, you've got to send a message by scoring touchdown. Exactly. That's what hurt the Saints, because when we were down 6-0, I said it in the broadcast, this could be a lot worse right now. We could be down. Exactly. You're not coming back. Usually against a team like the Saints, where you're down 14-0, but 6-0, then you still have a chance. So I agree with you. Every possession matters, but I would say we need touchdowns, no field goals. Even though I'm a kicker, I would love to see Ryan Sutton have a great career year, career day. But yeah, we got a lot of extra points.
A lot of extra points is fantastic. Well, this guy kicked a hell of a lot of extra points, hell of a lot of important field goals, including 2 in the Super Bowl to get yourself a Super Bowl championship, and hopefully you'll be covering a Super Bowl team come tomorrow night too. So,
man, I can't wait for Victory Monday on my show. That's how we do it. We do it every Monday. We call it Victory Monday, and we have a good time.
And tell all of our listeners and viewers out there where can they hear you and see you, and what do you have going on media wise, Martin?
Well, I do, like I said, the Spanish broadcast on Caliente 96.1. Okay. We do every game. And then Monday through Friday, I do a show from 9 to 11 a.m. on zliving.com. And that's a sports show in English. So let me clarify that. Nobody's going to watch. And then you can follow me on social media, Martin Gramatica 7 on Instagram. That's where I post usually what we're going to talk about that day or whatever. So those are my 3 plugs.
Well, and Martin, it didn't take a lot to have you retire to the state of Florida, right? You're a Floridian, at heart.
My house stayed right here.
Yes.
It didn't matter where I was playing. As soon as I got released or the season ended, I was coming straight home. So yeah, Florida's home.
And you do such great work here in the Tampa Bay area with the Martin Gramatica Family Foundation. You can't just share a few words about that for everybody.
Yeah, like I was saying earlier, I was born in Argentina. I understand the freedoms that they don't have over there, that we have here, thanks to our men and women in the military. So our foundation builds homes for combat wounded veterans, and now we partner up with Pinellas Habitat to be able to do more. We were averaging 1 a year, and then now almost 1 every 2 years. It's starting to get harder to do because I think it was more expensive with the economy. So now partnering up with Pinellas Habitat, we were able to do the 2 to 3 a year together.
That's awesome.
And it's just been, for me, it's an easy way to say thank you, even though they thank us for this home, but it's like, there's no need to thank us. We thank every man and woman that gives up. They're giving up their lives for us. So we want to thank our military.
And Martin, we've had you out before at Pin Chasers doing some charity bowling events, and good news is with Pin Chasers back open, we're gonna resume some of those charity fundraisers this off season and summer. So we'd love to partner with you again and have you out.
Absolutely, man.
Meet the Buccaneer fans, the Pewter Report readers, and supporting the Martin Gramatica Family Foundation. Martin, thank you so much for coming out. It's been a pleasure to see you. And go Bucs, right?
Right. Thank you for having me. And yeah, go Bucs. We got to win. We got to win. We got to win.
Exactly. Super Bowl champion, Martin Gramatica. Thanks for coming out today.
Appreciate it.
Really appreciate it.
Scott.
Yeah,
Thank you. Have a good day.
You too. John Ledyard. We got a legend right here. Yep.
We're back.
We are back.
I've eaten just a little bit of food since the last time you saw me on camera.
Exactly. So, speaking of that, I'm going to go grab some food here because we're here at Glory Days. And folks, if you haven't been at Glory Days, check out these wings right here. I mean, these are the wings that Jennifer was talking about. And if you're late to the show, we're running a special. All of the Glory Days are sold out for the big game tomorrow. Okay, so if you want to come to Glory Days, come on Monday. Or come today. This is a great place for dinner. And they've got Tampa Bay area locations all around. You might even see us later tonight at the Wesley Chapter. My wife and I love it. It's a great place to bring the kids. Over 50 TVs at every location. They're building one down there by Riverview, by you, John. But they've got a fantastic takeout offer. You can see it on our Pewter Report social page. Jen was talking about it earlier. It's if you buy 50 wings, their traditional wings, they're going to give you 24 of the boneless wings. There's only one left, John.
I wonder how that happened.
That's how popular these bad boys are, but there's only one of these boneless wings left, right? So make sure that you are doing all of your pre-gaming and tailgating at Glory Days Grill because it's a fantastic restaurant. They partnered with Pewter Report for this year. They're sponsoring the Pewter predictions and preview stories that we do. Did the one for the Super Bowl. And John, you know what? I got a new Kiwi Guava flavor here.
I've got one I've never tried.
I've never tried this. I'm going to try it live on the air here.
Raspberry green tea. A lot of green tea drinkers, so we'll see how this goes. That's a good one too. Still haven't had one I dislike. Wait, you've never had Kiwi Guava?
I've never had the Kiwi Guava.
Oh, that's
no.
a good one. Yep.
This is really good. It's a little sweet for me, but it's really good.
Somebody shout out the Kiwi Guava,
Yes.
I think, in the chat early on, and then we ended up with one.
Exactly. So I got one here. Finally tried it. I mean, John, they've got like 20-some flavors to choose from. It's insane.
And then the heat line is out now, and it's incredible. Those are a couple of my favorites. I've had a bunch of DMs from people. One person told me, a fan told me that Celsius has changed the game for them. They said they used to drink soda all the time, and now they don't drink it at all.
Right.
Celsius has completely replaced soda for them, but there's no sugar. There's none of that bad stuff. There's none of that bloated feeling you get from soda, and they love it, and they've been way healthier for it. And so I love hearing those stories because I think like health and fitness and stuff is really important. So I love hearing stuff about that. And what a cool thing that Celsius has done to be able to produce a product that can replace something like soda, which I think for many people is like borderline addictive, and be able to add it. So yeah, it's pretty cool. Definitely check out Celsius if you haven't. I just went around when Martin was on, and I talked to a couple of people who were trying it for the first time, and they love it. They can't believe this thing has no sugar in it, that it's good for you. So it's pretty. People are converting pretty quickly once they try Celsius.
Yeah, it's awesome. We're going to have Dwight Smith here in a little bit. I believe he's en route right now. That should be an interesting conversation from one Super Bowl champion to the next. And right now we're going to bring on Taylor Grizz Jenkins.
Wow.
Followed by Matt.
This is a very special moment, a very special appearance by Taylor Grizz Jenkins, who now I think Taylor, other than Scott, I think you're the Pewter Report member. Actually, today is the first time I've met Mark Cook in person. First time in person. He said I was taller than he thought I was going to be. He didn't even know who I was at first, even though I was on the air with Scott. But I've obviously you and Scott I've spent the most time around, and then I met Matt yesterday at the convention center, just kind of running into him. But you've been on here, Taylor, recently, but not too much to talk about what you're expecting from this game, expecting from Bucs-Chiefs, and people can read your preview and prediction over at pewterreport.com. But at the same time, they haven't heard it in your words. If you're the Bucs offense in this game, what is it that makes you think they're going to have more success this time than last time?
I mean, just how far they've come. I think from an execution standpoint, from a play calling standpoint, I know we had, and you talked about it ad nauseum, about how it seemed like the play calling had regressed almost a half season once they got to that Saints game. It was really good against Washington. I mean, or they made up for it a little bit with just execution. But I mean, it is going to. I think people overlook Steve Spagnuolo's game plan, and that's not something that I don't think people have been talking about a lot. And I think that's something that he does at an expert level. Right. So, I mean, he's not a guy that is ever, I think, going to limit you with that defense to 10 points, but he's not a guy that you're going to score 30, 35 points on a whole lot just because of the way they like to deploy dime defenses, which I think is a great way to counter what the Bucs are trying to do. If you can stop the run and then deploy those defenses and keep guys like Mike Evans, and that's when you see guys like Cam Brate lead the team in targets through 2-3 weeks in the playoffs, because you have such a better matchup by the time you get down to that 4th, 5th option. So you just have to be consistent. You cannot be predictable like you were in the Packers, where you are living on 3rd down. Right? You can't be sitting in 12 third downs throughout this game and expect to win it, because even with Tom Brady, even if the execution's good, you're not going to convert enough 3rd downs to keep up with the Chiefs.
Yeah, it's one of those situations where you have to plan out ways to be efficient on offense too, not only explosive but efficient as well, because you're going to need all of that in a game like this. But we have looked at this game from so many different angles. I saw fans kind of commenting on it, talking about it, but it feels like we have just kind of broken down every aspect of this game. And I think for Bucs fans, it's even more of a shock to their system than like 49ers Chiefs last year, because 49ers Chiefs, they're always in the national spotlight. They're always getting attention from ESPN, NFL Network, and things like that. They're always having all these breakdowns written about them and their games. They're in these situations in the playoffs. But for Bucs fans, this is like crazy. Like I think they're being bombarded from like consuming all the Bucs Inc. content that they can. But it's probably so unusual to see like this amount of exposure and getting opinions on the Bucs from everywhere. And I think it's just totally like blowing people's minds based on where they can get information and stuff. But I think it also makes them feel like we get to this point, the day before the Super Bowl, all the storylines are just cooked. We've talked about all of them at this point in time. So there's just kind of a lot we've unpacked, because we go live so often. We've unpacked so many different things. I almost want to take like a lighter note to today's show in some ways, and certainly if people have questions on this game that for some reason you haven't seen answered somewhere, or we haven't answered for you, and you'd like to know something, absolutely find a way to drop them in here. But I wanted to ask you about some other things, Taylor, in terms of this team and the last Bucs Super Bowl team. If you could take one player from the last Bucs Super Bowl team and put them on this Bucs Super Bowl team, maybe we'll go one on offense. That one might be easy. One on defense that you could take and put on this Bucs team and start them on Sunday in the Super Bowl. Who would you take and put on the team? And fans, you can sign off too. Let us know which Buck from the last Super Bowl team you would take and you would put on this year's Super Bowl team as a starter.
The offense, I think, is a lot tougher. To be honest, I don't know who I would really bring. Who would you bring?
Well, I'm trying to think. I wouldn't cover that Bucs team, obviously. I was a kid, but I wasn't a Bucs. I actually was rooting for them in that Super Bowl. I definitely was. I remember that clearly. I was 13. I would have been almost 13. But I would have said offensively, it was Michael Pittman and Mike Allstott, right?
Yeah. It had to be in the backfield, I think. Because
but we're
the wide
either of them
receivers,
great receivers. You wouldn't take a wide receiver. You wouldn't take a tight end. O-line, I don't know. Maybe somebody for Alex Kappa. I don't know who was the right guard.
Maybe the right guard.
I don't know who it was on that team.
I was going to say, on defense, it's so tough because you look at who the defensive line is very good. You have so much talent at linebacker. I know Warren Sapp and Derek Brooks are like the guys you want to bring, but you have so much talent at linebacker. It's got to be Rhonda Barber.
Wow.
Sliding into like Sean Murphy-Bunting's spot. I know it's like sacrilegious because Sean Murphy-Bunting's had the 3 picks, but like he's also struggled. Not just in the regular season, but in the playoffs. We saw Washington, he had that pick, but he got a little bullied later in the game. If you could take any player, you've got talent on the defensive line, you've got talent at linebacker. I know you have talent at cornerback, but I think Rhonda Barber gives you the biggest separation from what Devin White and Levante David, I think, are relatively, they're not Derek Brooks, but you see what they bring in terms of style of play. Warren Sapp is obviously a game changer, but you do have so much talent there. I think putting Rhonda Barber in that nickel spot changes the entire game. Or John Lynch, but at the same time, John Lynch can't kill people like he did 20 years ago.
That's true. I hear you on Rhonda Barber, and I think your reasoning is really sound. I would still take Warren Sapp. Because here's the thing. I'm putting Warren Sapp next to Vita Vea on the inside and JPP and Shaq Barrett on the outside, and I'm going crazy.
It's literally a game
The
record,
only other thing that I would consider is Simeon Rice. He was on that team, right?
Of course, yeah.
Simeon Rice with JPP playing inside a lot of the time, and you don't care about the run. If the Chiefs want to run it all day, whatever. JPP and Vea inside with Simeon Rice and Shaq Barrett outside. To me, those are the top two guys on defense. I think I'd still go with Sapp. I think in that situation, Simeon Rice is a great pass rusher, obviously. Run defense would play a little weak if JPP were inside and Simeon Rice probably.
It's kind of wild that it seems like every year because we feel like they're so screwed over a little bit. We talk about John Lynch and Rhonda Barber not being in the Hall of Fame yet. Why is Deion Rice not more in that conversation? When you look back at his career, he's top 20 in sacks, I think. He only had a couple years where he didn't reach double-digit sacks, and that was like at the end, maybe at the end of his Arizona career and then right at the end of his Bucs career. Simeon Rice, and I know that you always see the argument, we can't put every player from a Super Bowl defense. But that Bucs defense is up there with the Iron Curtain, with the 85 Bears, with the early 2000s Ravens. They are up there with one of the greatest defenses of all time, so why can't you put 4 or 5 players in the Hall?
Right. Well, I mean, I completely agree. I think when you look at what Simeon Rice has done in his career, production-wise, sacks-wise, his production's unbelievable. Nobody even talks about it. I don't understand why, honestly. I feel like if he didn't play in Arizona and Tampa Bay, his name would be easy.
Yeah, if he played for the Giants, and then you'd be saying, who's the next?
I don't understand it. I think, to me, he is a Hall of Famer. I would put he and Rhonda Barber in above John Lynch, to be honest.
I think I would probably put Simeon over John, too.
Yeah, that might take off some Bucs fans. I'm not sure, because I know John Lynch is a legend around these parts. But, I mean, I think John Lynch might be deserving. I think John Lynch is one you had to watch, to think if he's deserving. I watched John Lynch. I like that Bucs team, but I didn't grow up on it like all of them. Yeah, watching every single game. John Lynch's production is fine, but it's not like production that's going to get. But it was the play.
And what I think about John Lynch is he's going to get in with his general manager career now. I mean, what he's done, he in 3 years, he went to a Super Bowl with that 49ers team that was in complete rebuild mode, really, when he took him over. So that, I think, is the good news to John Lynch. While he is on the fringe of being in there as a player, he's been a finalist for 9 straight years or 8 straight years, something crazy. I think that it'll be his GM career that eventually pushes him over. Rhonda Barber, I can't believe, I think this dude should be closer to a first ballot Hall of Famer than an 8-time finalist not getting in.
Yeah, I agree. I think Rhonda Barber, I've said it on the show, I've tweeted it. There is no argument, in my opinion, to not having him in the Hall of Fame. I don't know how you can make one. There's nothing. He played with other great defenders. It's the worst argument for any play. To me, it doesn't even qualify as an argument because it's such a bad argument for anyone. They happen to be on a team with other good guys. Let's penalize them. What? That doesn't make any sense.
So does Ray Lewis. He was on a great defense.
Yeah, all the time.
Every all-time great defense was made by great defenders, not great defenders made each other.
Right. You don't have a lot of guys that are just going out and solo starring and then making the Hall of Fame. So it's just people pick and choose when they want to use that argument. Rhonda Barber's production is unbelievable for the position. Rhonda and Tom Bucs fan says they would put Rhonda Barber in before John Lynch. I would as well. I think most Bucs agree with that. I think it's whether John Lynch gets in or not that kind of is the discussion. To me, that's a discussion. To me, Rhonda Barber's not a discussion.
I don't think so either.
And I'm hopeful that tomorrow morning we'll find out that he is in it.
Yeah. And what a way to read. Everybody wanted it to be, 2020, you put 20 in. What better way than hosting a Super Bowl with him? It's like every year we have a narrative of, look how cool. This would be the great year to put him in. Every year is a good year to put Rhonda Barber in the Hall of Fame. Every single year. It doesn't matter.
Absolutely agree. But it's funny to think about the discussion about which one you would put on this year's Bucs team. Because I think defensively it is a little bit tricky. There's 3 valid answers, I think, and then Barber, Rice, and Sapp. Brooks, a great player. But again, you already have really good people taken off the field.
And the funniest thing I think about the argument for what is the argument to not put Rhonda Barber in the Hall of Fame that everybody who actually argues against it makes. He was a nickel corner. First off, he wasn't a nickel corner on first and second down.
Right.
He was an outside corner, who then slid to nickel on third down and revolutionized the position. He had 40 sacks, 47. What do you have? Rhonda Barber, 47 sacks. 28 interceptions.
Elite tackle for loss, run defense.
Unbelievable.
Ball skills, playmaking, defensive touchdowns, pressures, like you said, as a blitzer.
He did literally everything.
Outside on the
and it's not even
downs.
He doesn't have the ring. He has the ring. He doesn't have that iconic moment. He has the biggest play in Bucs history.
He has everything.
The single biggest play.
Everything.
Rhonda Barber, he's going to take it to the house.
High character, longevity, didn't get hurt and stay hurt. And
he threw broken hands
like that.
there's zero argument. I think
Yeah.
realistically,
There's nothing.
how he's not in.
Right, there isn't one. So anyway, Ronnie Barber, put him in the Hall of Fame tomorrow morning, or my Twitter account is going to be quite furious. We'll obviously have bigger fish to fry a little bit tomorrow with the Super Bowl, but it would be a nice start to the day to see him get in, and so it'll be interesting to have that conversation at that time. But we got to focus on the offensive side now. Okay, so if you're taking one player from that Bucs team, that last Bucs Super Bowl team, and you're putting him on this Bucs Super Bowl team that's on the offensive side of the ball, to me, it's got to be somebody in the backfield.
Yeah,
Unless
I
there's
think
an
so.
O-line guy I'm forgetting about because I was 13 and wasn't exactly studying the O-line of the Bucs.
I was thinking about I can't even think
Somebody
of the
said it
O-line.
was like Corey Coleman and somebody else.
But you're not going to take Joe Jurevicius and put him on this line.
Right. I
You're
don't
not
think-
going to do that.
exactly
You're not
right. I don't think that's going to happen.
It would have to be Mike Allstott, just because you got to put Mike Allstott. But I think I'm going to probably yeah. So I think I'll probably bounce out of here in a second. We have a special guest that just arrived.
Can you get Scott? Scott's going to come on in a second here and chat with our special guest. But, yeah, no, I think it's a fun discussion to talk about the running back position in general and say, like, man, what are you going to – because we talk about how it's not the most valuable position.
Keenan McCardell.
Right.
No offense, but like you have Chris Godwin and Mike Evans and Antonio Brown and Scotty Miller.
It's not like we're trying to be
Just have so
Keyshawn. It's not like we're trying to be rude to any, but again, it's like, man, it's like what's the biggest guy that's going to make the biggest difference for this Super Bowl in particular? And so, and I this is on me kind of, but I don't even know receiving wise, Michael Pittman and Mike Allstott,
I can't think.
but those guys and how productive they were.
You know, Mike Allstott did catch the ball back from a lot, but
and pass protection wise too.
And it's tough. How good would he be in today's game? I know he's a fullback.
Yeah, exactly. We have to kind of. It's hard to say, we're going to pick a fullback for that.
Yeah,
team.
exactly.
To represent us.
Especially in today's game, where it's like, okay, we're going to put up.
But also,
He wasn't a true fullback. He was a running back. Yeah, that was listed as a fullback. He was kind of that little in betweener.
And he broke tackles, and he created after the catch, and that's huge.
Oh, that's something Bucs running backs don't do.
Exactly. Right. That's critical, I think. So Scott's going to jump in here in a minute here and talk to our special guest, Dwight Smith. Going to get his thoughts on a lot of different things. So this is going to be a fun segment of the show here. Again, we're going till 2 p.m. here at Glory Days Grill, so come on down if you get the chance. Say hi to these guys, shake some hands, socially distance, air shake hands, or air fist pound, whatever it is. We'll step out here and let Scott step in here.
Thank you.
Scott, you've got a special guest coming on the show, huh? And we're going to be doing some conversation with Dwight Smith.
Absolutely.
It's going to be fun.
Yes, it is. It's going to be a great time. And, we're here at the Carewood Glory Days if you're just joining us. Fantastic food. I just got a chance to dip out and talk to the great folks at Celsius. Have you met Matt?
I haven't been able to meet him yet.
And the bar table out there, with all the Celsius girls and all. We got a whole bunch of Celsius.
Got a great stand
Can't miss
set
it.
up,
So, hey, Dwight, we'll take you over here.
Dwight's going to come on over us.
Yep. So we just had one of your teammates, Martin Grammatica, was just here.
Marty Mark.
Yeah, just talking about that.
Automatic.
Dwight Smith. This is Pewter Report's podcast here, and we're live at the Glory Days in Carewood. And first of all, I want to get your thoughts on the present day Buccaneers in the Super Bowl, because we're going to relive the Glory Days here at Glory Days. Go down memory lane with you with the 2002 Super Bowl. But did you think it would be 18 years for this franchise to get back to this land?
Well, I mean, being that out of my 8 years playing in the NFL, I only made the playoffs twice.
Yeah.
For my rookie year, then the year we won the Super Bowl. I can understand how tough it is to get, to the promised land, as they call it, as
right.
in the Super Bowl. So I'm from a city where they haven't been to a Super Bowl yet.
Where you from?
I'm from Detroit.
That's right. Yes, that's right. I remember you went to Akron. You were a Detroit kid. That's right.
Yeah. So I guess you got to appreciate them when they come.
Yeah.
Regardless of how, few and far between they come, when they do come, you have to appreciate them and enjoy them.
So I was talking to Martin, and it's no surprise he was a Buccaneer and he ends up living here. Same with you. John Gruden lives here. I mean, it's like once you become a Buccaneer, Anthony Becht, I mean, we can go down the list of players you played
Jackson
with.
Jackson.
Before you, Mike Allstott still in St. Pete. I
Jimmy
mean,
Giles.
yeah,
We got guys all here.
what is it about this area that, like, once you become a Buccaneer, you become a Tampa Bay resident?
Well, the city itself is inviting.
Yeah.
You know, being where I'm from a standoff place. So,
Yeah.
you know, you
Yeah.
come down here and people are inviting and they kind of accept you as
Right.
one of their own because you play for, you know, a team that they love. So it's something that I think all of us enjoy when
Right.
you come from different places for people to accept you like this is your home.
Mhm.
You know, it makes it easier to make it your home.
Right. So let's talk. We'll get back to the present day Buccaneers, but let's go back to 2002.
Okay.
That was your second year with the Buccaneers, and you had that was really kind of your coming out party. That season, you became the nickel corner. You were the third corner on the field. Rhonda would move from outside inside the slot, right, where he did a lot of his dirty work. And you did your dirty work at the outside. Now, if I recall correctly, you had 2 interceptions against the Atlanta Falcons.
Correct.
So that Super Bowl wasn't your first rodeo when it came to 2 bigs.
Correct.
Okay, now, again, it's my 25th year covering the Bucs. I'm 48 years old. My memory is not as sharp as it was.
Yes, I can
I'm older
understand,
than you.
but mine ain't, so I can understand.
Right. But didn't you pick off one of your interceptions against the Falcons? Wasn't that on a fake punt attempt?
Yes. The first pick of my career.
Was it? Okay, that was it.
Yes.
All right.
It came on a fake punt. Dexter hit the dude they were trying to throw the ball to. Ball
Right.
went up in the air.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so I remember that one. Okay. Now, when you look at that game, 2 interceptions,
Mm-hmm.
you got hot right at the end of the season. You had an interception against the Chicago Bears. We were just talking about that with Martine. Yeah, an odd game, 15-0. Martine accounted for all the points in that game, and it was freezing cold temps.
But it was a good game to get us ready for Philly.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
The weather, the
Yes.
type of game that it was a good precursor to us going to Philly.
Right. So you went in the cold, not even in Chicago. It was in Champaign, Illinois.
Yeah.
Simeon Rice's stomping grounds, right? He was in
From Illinois,
Fighting
we went
Illini.
to the school, we went to college. Yes.
Right. So you get a pick there. Then you get a pick
In the first
in the
playoff
first game against the 49ers.
Mhm.
Right.
And a fumble recovery.
That's right.
Yes, it was like
Things were happening, Dwight.
I was starting being in the right place at the right time.
Right. It wasn't just Rondé Barber show. It became Dwight.
I got tired of hearing Brooks and Rod their name every week.
All right. So there you have the prelude right to this. And when you look at that Philly game and how if you've watched the Buccaneers over the last couple of years, the Saints have been
Their nemesis.
their nemesis. And Philly was your nemesis,
Correct.
right? So, as I told Martine, when I was on the Jim Rome show, after the Bucs had won at Philly, and he asked me who's going to win the Super Bowl, I said, oh my gosh, the Buccaneers for sure. He's like, wait a minute, against Rich Gannon, against Charlie Garner and the Raiders? I said, no, you don't understand. It's all downhill. They beat Philly in Philly, right? Do you kind of sense the same hurdle, the same mountain the Bucs have climbed, winning in New Orleans?
Yeah, I mean,
From a psychological
it
standpoint?
tends to work that way.
Yeah.
You know, I remember as a kid, the Pistons needing to get past the Celtics.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes,
and then
yes.
once they got past the Celtics, it was like they finally got to the. So I understand you having a team that you need to beat.
Right.
And that really being your Super Bowl.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
So the Super Bowl is kind of a less pressure game
Right.
than the one that you just played because those guys, you were like the bully on the yard to you.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I can understand that feeling.
And so that's how that's what I've called the Saints, the bully. And they finally stood up to the bully and beat him in their place. And I thought that was the precursor to them winning at Green Bay and then getting to
Like you kind of knew already once they got past New Orleans that they were destined to be where they were.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Okay, so in that Super Bowl, and this is a great story. You and I have talked about this before, but I want you to share this with our readers and listeners and viewers out there on the podcast. when you look at what you did in the Super Bowl, 2 pick sixes, and you look at what Dexter Jackson, the ultimate winner of the MVP, he had 2 interceptions. His came in the first half, right? Yours came in the second half, one in the third quarter, and then one right at the end of the game in the fourth quarter. And I think a lot of people were like, wait a minute, like, why wasn't Dwight Smith the Super Bowl MVP?
But that's why I try to get fans to slow down on stats.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because stats never really tell the whole story.
Yeah.
My last interception in the game was
It didn't matter.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's kind of like when people look at Jameis Winston from a year ago,
Yeah.
and they say, well, he threw for 5,000 yards.
Right.
Well, if you put your team in the hole by 21, 28 points,
Right.
they're going to let you throw for that many yards in the second half.
Exactly. You're going to have to try to come back.
It's like the stats don't really tell the story of what went on.
Right.
So I can understand why they gave Dexter the MVP. His first 2 half interceptions
Help set the tone.
correct.
Yeah,
It got us to that comfortable lead that we
Right.
had.
Right.
So
And not just that, Dexter, or Dwight, but when you look at Dexter's picks, they happened in the first half. You, at that point in time, by the start of the fourth quarter, had a pick 6.
if my pick would have came when Derek got hit,
Yes.
then we have a conversation.
Exactly.
Then if people want to have an argument about it, I
Right.
can understand
Right.
it. But once Derek picked the ball off,
Yeah.
the game was over.
The game is over. And the thing is, too, is what they do in the Super Bowl is, I think, about with 10 minutes left in the game, that's when they vote.
Mhm.
So the game isn't even over, right?
Mhm.
And it could be a thing, too, Dwight, where if it's a close game.
Well, I hope that at least that game made them change it to at least 5 minutes.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Don't close the voting too soon. Let's move it to 5 minutes left in the game.
Exactly. And I think one of the cool things that you said is you and Dexter are friends.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is, you know, and I said, well, don't you feel like you got robbed a little bit about that?
And I know. Listen, man, I'm really out there, so I'm understanding what's going on.
Right.
And the way that I cope with it, the way that I tell my family is they pick a Super Bowl MVP every year.
Right.
It's a different one every year.
That's right. There's going to be one Sunday night.
But I have a record that can stand forever.
That will stand forever.
So I will hold on to that more than I will hold on to
when you told me that, I just was shaking my head like, yes. Like, we had this conversation.
If somebody throw 3 pick sixes, and you're going to see me on the news that night after.
Right.
I don't win and got that quarterback.
Exactly. Because that's the thing, right? I mean, getting 2 pick sixes in Super Bowl, that can happen. You did it.
Yeah.
Right? And somebody can match you.
Yeah,
they can match you.
Yes, they can tie. But
But you did it first.
if somebody get 3,
Yeah.
that quarterback got paid. So him and that corner was working together, man. This don't happen. You can leave him alone, man.
Right.
Don't throw 3 to him.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
I thought that was the coolest thing is you're like, hey, listen, you know, Dexter's your good friend. He can have the Super Bowl MVP trophy and the honors and stuff.
Yeah.
Your name is in Super Bowl history, and it will be there forever as the first to do it. And
I get
until now, the only to do it.
I get the high. You know, I get to go live my life. The Super Bowl MVP has to show up almost every Super Bowl. He has to do, like, no, I get to go and just be dad and, you know, be the person I want to be now, man.
Exactly. All right, so I got a couple more questions for you. So let's talk about, you know, that when your pick 6 happened, your first pick 6, that really made the score 34-3 at that point in time. I mean, and that was like the first time, I think, where Buccaneer fans and people like myself in media collectively said, this is over. I think Brooks is, after that little bit of a comeback, right? Because there was the block
punt for a touchdown.
Right.
Jerry Rice over the middle for a touchdown.
Yeah. They started to show some signs of life. Brooks was the dagger, right? But Brooks was the dagger, right? But I mean, you were the shotgun blast.
And that's what I mean. Like, if I would have got that Brooks pick,
yeah,
then I could see people having an argument,
right?
Saying that, you know, basically my first pick is what made people comfortable, and then my last pick is what sealed it. So they might have said, "Oh, you had a chance to be it," but
exactly.
I think Brian Kelly and these guys had their kids on the sideline when I scored my last touchdown. Like that's how much the game was over.
Exactly. Hey, John, we got some Dwight Smith clips.
Oh yes, we got it.
All right, here we go. We're gonna get on memory lane here.
A 7-step drop now, looking to his left. Fire. Oh, picked off. Dwight Smith, 25-20.
Yeah. All right. So does that ever get old watching your pick sixes?
Well, for a guy like me who really, I had too many storied guys on my side of the ball.
Yeah.
So, those type things will always stand out to me.
Yeah.
Because going into that game, really playing on that team, on the side of the defense we had 2 first ballot Hall of Fame.
Right.
We got Rhonda Lynch and Sydney, who I'm back. I'm just a guy who's a 3rd round pick trying to not get cut in the offseason. You know what I mean? So to go out there and make those plays, and they always stand out. Because, once you become a starter and those things, you kind of lose the fight that you had to get to that spot.
Right.
So them plays will always stand out because I hadn't made it to where I thought I was good.
Yeah. Well, and when you see John Gruden react the way he did, does that still trigger memories from that day?
Yes, because once again, that's your head coach. This is a guy who
he challenged you guys, right? He challenged you to 9.
And my last touchdown was the 9th
defensive score.
And you don't think about it while it's going on,
right?
But when you're able to sit back and talk about those meetings that you had, him challenging us, and then us stepping up to the challenge and realizing that it really did take 9 touchdowns for us to realize our goal.
Yeah, for sure. And I think if memory serves, the first pick six was Brooks's. The first defensive score was Brooks's in week 2 in Baltimore. Yeah. Right?
And yeah.
Is that right? Yeah, I think so.
Because the one in Atlanta was Sapp pitching to Brooks.
Yeah.
And him scoring.
Right.
Yeah.
This is interesting. Tom Bucks fan says the second pick by Smith created another stat. We were never outscored in a quarter in the playoffs.
Now that's crazy.
Isn't that nuts?
That's crazy. But that team, man, the defense and the way, the cohesiveness of that defense, I've never played on another team like that.
Exactly. So what are your thoughts now? Obviously, the league has changed. It's become more offensive, right? You guys had a defense for the ages with those defensive scores, the sacks with Sapp and Rice up front, the linebacker play with Quarles, who was a Pro Bowler. Q didn't get enough love. No. But Shelton Quarles that year.
We have Al-Shaman Singleton.
Yeah.
Is the guy that of our Super Bowl team that I believe is the most underrated player.
Strong side linebacker that year.
On our defense. When he left, people don't understand what we lost in that guy. We tried to replace him with an end goal, with a Dwayne Rudd.
Right. Yep.
And it never was the same.
Yeah. And it's interesting because, win or lose, I like the Buccaneers' chances of getting back next year. I think they're a young team. Brady City's coming back. Bruce Arians is coming back. Gronkowski wants to come back. But it's so hard, and you guys saw that in 2003, right?
But the reason it's so hard is you play the longest.
Yeah.
So now the risk of injury the next season is so much higher.
The extra month of football.
Correct.
Yeah.
So that's what keeps people from being able to repeat is the fact of key people getting hurt.
Right.
That's what Kansas City was able to avoid.
Well, to a degree, right?
But now,
with their tackles
now,
now
they get to this point and they got 2 tackles out. But during the year, they were mostly, players that they can replace injury-wise.
Exactly.
And, I tell people all the time, nobody brought up the fact that the Packers were missing the highest paid offensive line in the NFL.
Yeah.
So those type pieces missing.
Right.
They're not talked about on ESPN, but in your meeting rooms, you understand how important those pieces are.
Well, and so you watched that NFC Championship game, right? What was your thoughts as a Buccaneer alum when they did it, when they beat the Packers, and now your team is going to the Super Bowl in the home stadium?
Not only just being an alum living here, and you understand the love the people of Tampa have for the team. Yeah, that's who you really root for,
right?
Because the guys who play here, like I played here 4 years.
Yeah.
It ain't like a lifetime. Right. So the people that you really feel good for and root for are the fans of the town who've been Buccaneer fans their whole life.
Exactly. And so, when you saw with Shaq and JPP as a defensive-minded guy, you've got an appreciation, right, as a defensive back for what happens up front, right? Get to the quarterback. That's the best thing, right? Either get that quarterback on the ground so he didn't have to throw it your way, or if he throws it your way, he's under duress, right? Pressure wins games up front.
Yeah.
So now the Packers, with Bakhtiari being out, they moved right tackle Billy Turner to left tackle, brought in Rick Wagner off the bench to right tackle. Kind of the same situation now. Eric Fisher out.
Yep.
Mike Remmers, who was a turnstile for the Panthers in that Cam Newton the Denver Broncos game. Yeah. So he gave up 3 sacks and 2 forced fumbles in that game that Shaq Barrett was a part of, winning Super Bowl 50 for the Broncos. Now, Dwight, you get the same situation. Remmers is moving from right tackle to left tackle. Schwartz is still out. So now you got to bring Andrew Wiley from right guard over to right tackle. And now you got to bring Stefan Wisniewski off the bench to right guard.
And to combat it, because we know Andy Reid is not sleeping.
Right.
We know that.
Yes.
That's a key. We know that.
Yeah.
And then his son has an accident.
Yes.
To bring even more,
Right.
outside pressure.
And Barrett Robbins, the center for the Raiders.
This is what I mean. When you bring outside things, it's hard. And that's what I try to get fans to realize. This is still a human factor to these games. There ain't robots out there playing.
Right.
The people have things going on in their life. And when something as serious happens as, let's say, with Andy Reid's son, where there's a 5-year-old who's on life support basis.
Right.
It's kind of hard for you to focus on these things. And your kid is in a situation that you don't know if you're going to be able to make it out of.
Yeah.
So that's something to think about also, man.
It is, because Barrett Robbins going AWOL before that game, it certainly had that Raider offense array. It really did.
It hurt. It hurt them bad.
Yeah. So, Dwight, when you look at the similarities between the 12-4 team that you were on in 2002, the 11-5 Buccaneer team this year, you guys are both swept by the Saints. I think this Saints team, the Saints team is better than the Saints team in 2002. But it started off with a block punt in the end zone. Yeah, overtime, right? Isn't that crazy?
Yes, man. And it'd be crazy how a lot of similarities always happen when you see runs. You look back on this team's run and this team, and it's kind of scary when you start looking at it and thinking about it.
There's a bit of a fate complex, right? It's kind of a meant to be type of situation.
Yep, and a lot of Tampa fans might don't know, a key person in our organization who was there way before me, way after me. Her name is
Jill Hobbs. Yeah.
She's watching over.
Yeah, she is.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And this is something that would have made her day.
I know. There's no doubt about it. I appreciate you bringing up Jill Hobbs. She was what I call a 76er. She was a 1976 employee of the Buccaneers, worked for the franchise for over 40 years. I got to know Jill. Later, when she kind of had a different role in the organization, she dealt with the alumni.
Yeah.
I mean, and she loved you guys like a mom. She was like a mom to all you guys. And she passed away recently, right after the Bucs-Packers game in week 5. My mother passed away.
I'm sorry to hear that.
I appreciate that. And I grew up in Kansas City. She was a huge Chiefs fan. And then when I took the job at Pewter Report in 1995, I walked in the door with Warren Sapp and Derek Brooks that year. She moved to Florida the next year, became a huge Buccaneer fan, huge Pewter Report reader, so she switched her allegiances. But now, she's up there in heaven watching the Chiefs and the Bucs in the Super Bowl. Jason Light's father passed away in 2019. And so there's been a lot of people that have been affected personally and emotionally by.
And that's close to this game.
Yeah,
that's close to this game, man. It's a lot of people who we wish would be here to see this game.
Yeah.
I mean, they were the people who deserve to be here to see this game.
Exactly. So, well, man, I tell you, it's been a pleasure having you out here at the Carrollwood Glory Days.
Yes, sir.
Talking Bucs Super Bowl. What's your Super Bowl pick?
A lot of scoring. Let's say that.
A lot of scoring.
I believe it's going to be a lot of scoring.
You think the Bucs pull it out?
I believe if they get enough pressure, that's going to be the key.
Right.
If they can pressure those 2 tackles I believe they definitely have more than a chance.
Okay.
They can get that done.
All right.
That's going because number 15, man, he's scary.
It's special.
He's scary, man. When he has a chance to sit back there and pick who he wants to throw the ball to,
right.
It's hard to beat him.
Well, and it's a thing too where they've played the Chiefs this year, right? So that's got to help.
Yeah.
I thought that Bowles' adjustments, right, when he went to cover 2 and cover 4, because the Bucs play a lot of cover 1, right? A lot of single press man. You can't do that. Yeah, you can't.
Tyreek Hill is a person who needs the Randy Moss game plan.
Right, exactly. And so when you look at that game in quarters 2 through 4, I thought Bowles made those awesome adjustments, right? He went to cover 2, cover 4, and they only scored 10 points over the last 3 quarters. Patrick Mahomes in the second half only threw for 103 yards and a touchdown. They slowed the Chiefs down. And if they had one more possession, and all of a sudden the Bucs might win this game. They might have come back to win.
And the key is, just like when you're talking about, if a team gets up, you have to keep your foot on the pedal.
Right.
Because both of these teams are capable of changing momentum. And,
yes.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And bringing the game. So if you get somebody down, you have to keep your foot on their throat, or it won't end how you think it will.
That's right. And so that being said, it's interesting because they have played the Chiefs before. They know what they're going to get into. Now, there's 2 X factors on the Bucs defense. The Bucs didn't have Jamel Dean, their fastest corner, and Dwight. We know what a fast corner can do. You were the fastest cornerback in Tampa, and you played.
Is Antoine playing?
Antoine's going to play.
Okay.
Yes, he's playing. Whitehead's going to play, but Vita Bea, the nose tackle, is going to play.
I was talking to my brother about him earlier.
Right, he wasn't playing in Week 12, so that's a different factor there. So you have 2 guys that Kansas City didn't play before. So I think the advantage goes to the Buccaneers because of that.
Yeah.
Now the interesting thing,
like I say, the key is to, if you do make plays early, to not take your foot off the pedal.
Right.
Because what we've seen Kansas City get down in playoff games.
Right.
I mean, by 20 points.
And they'll come back.
So
yes.
The key is to not think the game is over until it's over.
Right. Now, the other thing, too, is you guys didn't play the Raiders that year, but you kind of did in practice with John Gruden as quarterback.
That week of practice was probably a degree in getting a master.
Yes, right, exactly,
Being able to get a master in just a week.
Right. Now the thing, too, is it's interesting, right? We talked about kind of the fate and the karma that's coming to this year with Brady coming in, no off season, but they still, they dethrone the Saints, they beat the bully, they go ahead and they play the Super Bowl in their own stadium. Back then, it was a similar type of thing with Gruden. He didn't get here until February. You guys were with that a coach the whole month of January. You fired Dungy, and then
they was playing all the way up until the AFC Championship game.
What's that?
The Raiders.
Yes.
So we had to wait after that to be able to get Gruden. So that's right. How long it took.
Exactly. And they finally made the trade, got Gruden. He got in late with offensive coaches he'd never worked with before. And that offense was a work in progress because you guys had to carry the team all the way through. They really didn't
get going
until the end, right? Maybe the Vikings game late in the season or
the playoffs.
49ers game.
The playoffs is when they show what they brought down.
Right. So I remember the back porch at the woodshed, right?
Our workout area.
Yeah, exactly. I remember talking to Keyshawn Johnson. And he was so pissed at me because I had Pewter Report magazine back in the day. Remember the magazine would pass out? Mm-hmm. And Keyshawn went up to me and he read my prediction for the Philly game. And I predicted the Eagles.
I remember that.
Yeah,
I remember
you remember me picking that, right?
I remember that.
So Keyshawn wasn't the only person pissed at me. You probably were too. And so Keyshawn's he's like, Scott, what the hell's this bullshit? You picking us to lose to the Eagles. I said, honestly, Keyshawn, the Eagles have beat you guys so many times.
We lost to them during the year that year.
That's right, yeah. And I said, plus the years with Dungy, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I said, listen, Keyshawn, no offense, but it's like honestly, until you beat them, I have to pick them, right? Until you show me you can beat them, right? And you know what he said to me? He said, Scott, you don't understand. We got this. We got this. Now, you know, Keyshawn and John were not like best buddies, right? They were not bosom buddies. They were not best of friends. But he told me off the record that afternoon, he said, you don't understand. He said, Gruden's got them. This game plan we have got them. We're going to win this game. And it's rare that Keyshawn would speak highly of John, right?
Yeah, because Keyshawn killed our season the next year, bro.
Yeah.
That's a talk for another day.
He did, right? Yeah. But the thing is, though, is I mean, he was a believer. Like, you guys going up to Philly, you knew you were going to beat them, right?
Yeah, I mean, the thing was, I think back on that year, and it wasn't many games we didn't think we was going to win.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, the key was the offense had so much belief in us.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
they didn't think they had to go and score 28, 35 points to win the game.
Right.
They felt that they scored 21 points, we was going to win.
I know.
You know what I mean? So we went in almost every game believing that we was going to win.
Yeah. Well, and you did, and it culminated in the Super Bowl, and Dwight, hopefully it culminates in the Super Bowl again. So you're not predicting anything but a lot of points.
I don't want to be the one who they say he's jinxed them or he did this. So I don't want to say who I think is going to win or lose.
Okay, gotcha. But I think that if the Buccaneers do win on Monday, you're going to be a happy camper, right?
I live here.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
All right. So here's a loaded question for you. Now we'll end with this. All right. So if this Buccaneer team beats Patrick Mahomes, the defending Super Bowl champions, okay, you guys were 12-4. Both of these teams have won 15 games, right? You guys won 15 that year, including the playoff, postseason, right, and all this. So, which Super Bowl champion would be better?
No, because you got to remember they beat Drew Brees, Aaron Rodgers, and Patrick Mahomes. We don't have 3 Hall of Fame quarterbacks.
Jeff Garcia, Donovan McNabb, and Rich Gannon.
Average, and average.
Donovan McNabb's average. I love it. Still taking care of Philly to this day. You gotta love it.
Average, and average.
Yeah.
Like, really, that's why Andy Reid was able to get over the hump with Patrick Mahomes.
Right.
Because he is all the things that Donovan McNabb is not.
Right. That's awesome. Dude, you always speak your mind.
Oh, not to be wrong way.
Exactly. Love having this guy. In my heart and mind, there's 2 Super Bowl MVPs. There's Dexter Jackson, and then there's the real McCoy, this guy right here, Dwight Smith. Thanks for joining. You've always been a friend of PewterReport.com. Appreciate having you out, man.
Yes, sir.
Exactly. Dwight, we're gonna have you feast on some amazing food from Glory Days here at Carrollwood. And just enjoy your meal, man. So
I appreciate you
coming out.
out.
Yep, thank you. Yep.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely. So John Ledyard, we have had a power-packed 2 hours here.
Yeah, it's gone fast.
I know, right? It has, exactly. I spent a lot of time on air watching everyone else eat, so you know what that means. I'm getting hungry. I can eat. I only drank half the margarita that I ordered. So, folks, listen. We're not kidding when we say Glory Days Grill is a fantastic place to eat. And we're not kidding when we say Celsius is a fantastic beverage, right? And I'm not saying top 5, John. This might be number 6.
Oh, yeah, 6?
It might be number 6.
We're going to have to do a rankings in the offseason.
Yeah, exactly. It's sweet. And I used to like sweet when I was younger. As I'm getting older now, I don't like it as much. But this is a very good, tasty Celsius right here.
Yeah. No, it's Celsius been one of the finds of the year for me. I've talked about it at length on here, so love them being down here. Glory Days has been great. It's been great to have this set up and be in this restaurant atmosphere and everything, and while we're doing the show, and have tons of fans coming up to us when we're not on air and saying how much they love this content and stuff. And yeah, I think our fans are great. I think it's been a fun show today. Shay, feeling a little bit cheap. We'll talk more about that probably next week or another time on the show.
Okay, but see, here's the interesting thing, right? The interesting thing is he goes on WDA, our good friends and partners, and he says one thing. He comes out here. He didn't mention anything about Super Bowls being illegitimate. He didn't say that there was anything.
In fact, a lot of comments that suggested the opposite.
Exactly. Exactly. So
I think he went the right route.
Yeah.
Not bringing it up. It seemed like he was making his point.
And you know what? I told Dwight earlier. I said, listen, you're free to speak freely, and I'll ask questions. You can answer them. say what you want. Big believer in freedom of speech, and don't want to stifle anybody, but Dwight said what he wanted to say on the show, and I think at the end of the day, right? Just my 2 cents, and allow you to comment on this too as we wrap up. It's not like Rich Gannon said, "Hey, Dwight, this is going to be the Big Six here, right?" It's nothing like that, right? It just isn't. It's not the wink of the nod. It's the fact that listen. Does some fans feel like the NFL is rigged? Well, you know what, John? You could ask the Saints fans. Sure. When you're looking at that Rams game, that no call, right? And that was the year that the Rams were out there in LA, and did they want the Rams in the Super Bowl because of the LA market? There's all sorts of conspiracy theories, and you can look at things a lot of different ways. The Saints felt like they were robbed. They felt like they were robbed. Not just once, but twice. The Vikings did it the next year with another no call. So that's what's so great about this sport is the debate, right? Is websites like MyBookie where you can place bets, right? And wager. And I have yet to make my Super Bowl wager, John, but I'm going to do that. I'm going to do it quietly tonight, and then let us know after the Super Bowl. Exactly. Yes. I don't like Dwight. I don't want to be part of jinxing anything other than saying the Bucs are going to win 34-31. Brian Suck-Up is going to have an awfully nice field goal in the game.
Love it. No, I think that if you make that bet over at MyBookie, you just better be sure to know what you're doing, man. That's all I'm saying.
Exactly.
But there's a lot of prop bets to vote on as well, and so there's a lot of fun stuff. And check out Matt Matera's Betting the Bucs article that went up over at PewterReport.com.
Yep.
He's done a lot of research and looked into a lot of that stuff, so it's some pretty cool stuff.
So we've had some fantastic guests. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed it. We really enjoyed talking some Bucs football, some trips down memory lane, talking with a couple of Bucs legends and Dwight Smith and Martin Gramatica, 2 Super Bowl champions that offered up their insight on this week's game, and also talk a little bit about what a fantastic super season it was in 2002. And John, the numbers are all kind of the same. Just got to flip around some 2s and 0s to go from 2002 to 2020. So it's been awesome. Happy 1-year anniversary. Thank you, sir, for being a Pewter reporter.
Capping off the right way.
Yeah, absolutely. John Ledyard, 2-0 at Raymond James Stadium, hopefully 3-0. And the Buccaneers, again, I think the key stats are these two. They're 9 of 10 on third and short. What is third and short, John?
It's a rundown.
It's a rundown. Right. Run the ball. Third and short. And also, too, getting to 30 points. I think that's critical. I think if you're going to go toe-to-toe with the defending Super Bowl champions and the Super Bowl MVP, you got to outscore them. And that doesn't mean by 1 point. That means by putting a ton of points on the scoreboard.
Right. Absolutely. It's going to be one of those games, Scott, where you look at the last game and like, man, both offenses kicking themselves. They left points on the field. If this is the game where they put it together and neither offense does that, we could see one of the wildest, the most explosive Super Bowls that we've ever seen before, I think.
Exactly.
So it has the potential to be an exciting one and a really fun one for Tampa Bay fans as well. So we'll be back. Probably not the night of the Super Bowl because that game isn't going to be over until super late. And we're going to be in the press box and then having to wrap up everything there with interviews and stuff, write our stories, then get back. But we will be on the next day. We'll let you know about the time for that one. It's going to depend on how everything plays out in the Super Bowl and everything. And I know some people I know, believe it or not, do have work on that Monday after.
Exactly.
So we'll try and plan the pod around that. But we'll be on then. Throughout the next week, we'll be back with you, bringing you content, covering the Super Bowl extensively before we move on to free agency, the offseason, the draft, and things like that. I know that stuff isn't even in the mind of most Bucs fans right now, but we're going to get there.
Yes, the first mock draft drops next week.
Yep, it's going to be fun. Scott and I have been working on it for a while, actually, kind of perfecting it, so it's going to be a fun one. So, as always, thanks so much to everybody for listening to another edition of the Pewter Report podcast. Out.